Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. Waiting on possible charges against a driver following an overnight crash that injured a police officer in DeKalb County. Happened at a construction site along I-20 at Wesley Chapel Road. The officer was helping out from an out-of-state jurisdiction. Police believe the other driver may have been under the influence. That officer said to have non-life-threatening injuries. Also in DeKalb, police bust up an apparent street racing meetup. They write more than 100 tickets after learning of the event and blocking the entrance to Wade Walker Park on Rockbridge Road. The department's Blaine Clark says they know the identity of the alleged planner of the event and they plan to find him.
Special conditions of the bond once that suspect is in custody include staying away from DeKalb County parks and 2 other known locations of street racing meetup.
And he says this latest bust is meant to send a message that DeKalb has zero tolerance for street racing events. A reminder for drivers heading through downtown Atlanta, a sinkhole continues to cause big issues just blocks from the state capitol. The Department of Watershed Management says 3 lanes of Shirley Franklin Boulevard south of Memorial Drive remain closed this morning while crews work to fix the issue and figure out a cause. While it tells commuters to avoid the area, traffic control measures are also in place. The FAA heads into a second day of talks with airlines about the issues and reduced operations at the Newark, New Jersey airport.
Yesterday, FAA Deputy Franklin McIntosh told a Senate panel that a failed backup telecommunications line led to last month's 90-second radar and radio outage that left controllers unable to see planes heading into Newark.
Bloomberg's Gina Cervetti says Atlanta-based Delta is among the airlines involved in these talks, along with American, JetBlue, and United, which uses Newark as a major hub. Several Metro Atlanta communities are getting a boost from the Atlanta Regional Commission.
The 6 livable community grants are aimed at helping areas become more walkable and bikeable, among other things, explains the Atlanta Regional Commission's Paul Donsky.
Plan for their futures to be more vibrant and community-oriented. So it's not just around how to drive through them, but how to create places that you want to spend a time in walking around.
For example, the city of Kennesaw gets money for a study on the Cobb Parkway commercial corridor, while Avondale Estates will update their master plan, and Conyers is looking to improve their Old Town area. Michelle Wright, 95.5 WSB.
Yet another mega merger involving sports equipment. This time, Dick's Sporting Goods announces it's buying Foot Locker for about $2.4 billion. Dick's says it expects to run Foot Locker as a standalone unit. Also plans to keep Foot Locker brands, including Kids Foot Locker and Champ Sports. And it comes after this month's other announcement that Skechers is being taken private by an investment firm. That deal is worth more than $9 billion. It's 9:03. Mark Arum Show begins in less than 2 minutes. But first, live team coverage of traffic and weather. We start with Triple Team Traffic and Smile on Mark McKay.
All right, Judd, got a breakdown in a bad spot. I-75 southbound northwest Atlanta past Mount Perrin Road, exit 256. Hero unit just pulled up. They're in the center lane of I-75 southbound, and all lanes of I-75 coming out of Marietta now stacked up, leaving Windy Hill Road. So be aware of those delays as you work your way toward northwest and midtown Atlanta. The delays on 400 are still in place between Alpharetta and Roswell, especially leaving Haynesbridge Road, trying to clear Holconbridge Road, and still full-on brake light battle between Highway 316 and Indian Trail Road. That's I-85 in Gwinnett County. Into downtown, still seeing plenty of slow zones there, Ashley Frasca.
Yeah, along the connector traveling north through the city on 75-85 between 166 and Freedom Parkway, 85 south. The worst of that, you see the brake lights out of Brookhaven begin around North Druid Hills, 400 south slows before Sidney Marcus, and just a tap of the brakes along the connector south getting past 14th Street. Triple Team Traffic, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today, high 87. That's trending about 6 degrees above average for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Watching for heavy rain and thunderstorms early Saturday morning. Cloudy in the afternoon, high 85.
69 degrees in Duluth, 69 in Morrow, 69 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 9:05. More news at 9:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Judd Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB.
Good morning, friends. Not a surprise here. A ton of stuff to talk about today. Mass confusion right now in Turkey. What were supposed to be ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine. We'll get an update on that. We're going to bang out our top local stories, including the horrific, record-breaking poor performance of the United States Postal Service here in the state of Georgia. If you are a frequent mailer or receiver of packages, you know exactly what I'm talking about, but I'm going to show you the numbers. It's bad. It's compared to our neighbors to the north, south, east. I guess we don't have neighbors to the east, but the postal delivery rates in Georgia are just pathetic. So obviously a big local story. We will go in depth on that. But this Deborah, might be considered the courts edition of the Mark Arum Show. We've got the Diddy trial. Apparently some really salacious stuff in testimony yesterday, including audio, video and still pictures of the freak off party, like really nasty stuff. We're going to go to New York City in just a little bit. Peter Haralambous has been in the courtroom for ABC. Really tough testimony yesterday. But we're going to start. The big news today is the Supreme Court is going to hear oral arguments concerning birthright citizenship. Joining us is White House correspondent John Decker. John, this is a big case. What's the timing on this? When is court going to be in session?
Well, the Supreme Court will hear oral arguments starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll be in the Supreme Court for those oral arguments. And let me just give some background. The president, his very first day of his second term, signed an executive order essentially doing away, ending birthright citizenship. That was challenged in the federal courts, and 3 separate federal judges in 3 different districts have issued nationwide injunctions preventing that executive order from going into effect. And that's the issue actually before the Supreme Court today. The actions by those federal judges, were they proper to issue nationwide injunctions instead of injunctions that just impact the parties that brought the case in the first place? So that's the first issue before the Supreme Court today. I think down the road, they're going to take up this issue regarding the constitutionality of the president's executive order. There are many legal scholars, Mark, that will tell you that the right to birthright citizenship is enshrined in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is this hearing today just about the 14th Amendment, or is it mostly about what the lower court judges have done thus far?
It's mostly about what the lower court judges have done thus far. And, there are presidents, not just Republican presidents. In fact, Barack Obama complained about this awesome power that federal district court judges have. Joe Biden complained about it as well. And now, of course, President Donald Trump has complained about it, and his administration has complained about it. The Supreme Court, for the justices that will hear this case, they have often raised some concerns about the powers of lower court judges in issuing these nationwide temporary restraining orders or injunctions. And that's what we're going to hear oral arguments focus on during the course of this morning.
Correspondent John Decker joining us on the Mark Arum Show. This case got to the Supreme Court pretty rapidly, but I don't think we're going to hear a rapid decision, right? We're not going to get a final word today from the Supreme Court.
Well, here we are. We're in mid-May. We are likely to get a decision from the Supreme Court by the end of June. So a month and a half from now is when we'll know how the Supreme Court will rule on this particular matter before the Supreme Court.
So if we don't get a decision till June, what's the status quo now when it comes to birthright citizenship?
The status quo is that the president's executive order is on hold because of that nationwide injunction. And for that reason, if indeed, let's say a graduate student here in America from Germany gave birth to a child in an American hospital, that child, based upon the status quo, would have American citizenship. That's what birthright citizenship is all about. And we'll see whether that policy that's enshrined in the Constitution holds after the Supreme Court ultimately rules on this case. Again, that will not be at the end of June. That will be when this issue comes up specifically before the Supreme Court regarding the president's executive order action that he took his first day in office.
Gotcha. Great clarification there. Again, oral arguments, 10 a.m. Correspondent John Decker will be there. John, as always, appreciate your time.
Thanks again, Mark. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
So John is going to be in the courtroom for us. At 11:35, CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum is going to join us. So that's going to be 90 minutes into the oral arguments. Maybe Thane can give us an idea of which way they're going. But I think it's important to note this does regard the birthright citizenship issue. But I think it's worth underlining that is not what the Supreme Court is going to be hearing arguments about today. This is Jan Crawford, CBS News chief legal correspondent.
The Trump administration is saying that one federal judge can't dictate national policy for everyone, while opponents say the alternative would be legal chaos.
So that's what the argument's about. It's the Trump administration taking it to the Supreme Court saying a federal judge in Wichita, Kansas, can't issue a nationwide order stopping the executive order for President Trump. So what the Supreme Court's going to hear today is about the birthright citizenship case. You know, the fact that President Trump on day one wanted to end the longstanding tradition that if you are a baby born in the United States, to whether your parents are here on a visa or your parents are here illegally, whatever, you're born here, you're a citizen here. But that's not what's going to be decided today or over the next month. It's going to be about the power that federal court judges have. Do they have that broad power? I'll use Wichita, Kansas for a second. If a federal judge in Wichita orders a stay on this birthright citizenship, does it only impact Kansas, or is it a nationwide ban? So that's what the argument. I have no idea what the Supreme Court's going to say on this. That's why we're going to go with legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum at 11:35. I think it's an important issue for sure, but the bigger issue is going to be around that 14th Amendment, and it won't be heard today. Is birthright citizenship still a thing, or can an executive order trump that? So a lot to talk about that with the Supreme Court. Again, they're going to hear oral arguments at 10 a.m. And I believe, Deborah, usually we get audio of that, right? It's not like the federal courthouse where there's no video or audio streams. I believe we get to hear that. So maybe we can get some audio.
Some clips.
Yeah, around 10 a.m. And then again, right after the news at 11:35, legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum is going to join us and give us his take of what's going on. But again, it's about birthright citizenship yet, but this hearing today, the oral arguments are more about the power of lower courts. So obviously a big story worth monitoring, and we will update that. Oh, again, I forgot to mention, a little over an hour from now, I'm going to give you another bonus Blitz keyword, 5K day bonus blitz, another chance for you to win $1,000 coming up at around 10:18 here on the Mark Arum Show. All right, from the Supreme Court to the federal court in New York City, joining us and covering the Diddy trial is ABC News legal correspondent Peter Haralambous. Peter, good morning. It's been a rough couple of days in court. I heard some really, really emotional testimony yesterday. You were there. What can you tell us?
Yeah, yesterday was hard to watch for what appeared to be these jurors. You know, they were shown evidence of what Cassie Ventura says was blackmail material. Basically, they were shown still images showing videos of these alleged freak-offs that she says Combs used to blackmail her, to compel her to continue planning these things and not go to law enforcement. She says she was basically trapped in a violent cycle of abuse and having to plan these elaborate sex parties, and really had no option, because if she tried to escape, she said she feared Combs would release them and ruin her reputation as an aspiring pop artist.
Do we know how this evidence was gathered? Did she have them? Did he have them? Was this, these images and the videos uncovered in the investigation?
You know, I think that's going to come up a lot today during the cross-examination because, at the end of the day, a lot of the evidence in the case was taken from Combs's own devices. But one thing that the defense attorney is trying to harp on here is that actually the still images of those tapes, basically, those were actually taken from a Ventura device. And they kind of used that in their opening statement to suggest that, Combs wasn't actually hanging this over her. In fact, they couldn't even find any sex tapes of Ventura, allegedly, when they searched his home. So we'll see how that plays at the end of the day. This is kind of a hard direct examination to follow up, given how we've really just seen 6 hours of really, somewhat traumatic testimony from Ventura as she recounted how basically 10 years of her life were stolen away as she got trapped by Combs, allegedly, in this cycle of violence.
Ventura has been dubbed the star witness for the prosecution. Do we have any idea how long her testimony will be?
I think it's safe to say this testimony could go through the end of the week or even longer. One thing that is interesting, though, is that the prosecution really has an interest in getting this done quickly. In fact, yesterday they told the judge that they're actually concerned that if they can't get her testimony done this week, there's a real concern that she might give birth over the weekend. She's testifying, she's about 8 months pregnant at this point. She's, visibly pregnant in the courtroom. She's wearing, dresses that kind of show that to the jury. And that's actually a real logistical constraint. irrelevant at the end of the day. And that, if this person at the end of the day is unable to testify because she has to go into labor, that's the person that's the star witness in this case. That could be a detriment to either the prosecution or the defense attorneys. At this point, though, I think prosecutors got everything they need from Ventura. It's really now on defense to kind of chip away at that story she told.
Peter Haralambous, ABC News here on the Mark Arum Show. Peter, you've been in the courtroom in this Diddy trial. Have you witnessed any reaction from the jury or the defendant during this emotional testimony?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day here with this jury, they're generally not the most emotional crowd. They're not the easiest to read, but there's a few things. When she goes into the really graphic testimony, when she breaks down to tears, you can see kind of the struggle on the faces of a few of these jurors. They certainly do not look like they're enjoying this. During another witness, a male sex worker who testified on the first day of the trial, there was actually one witness who was kind of rolling her eyes consistently, kind of seeming incredulous of the testimony. And Combs, for what it's worth, has been really fixated on Ventura. They don't appear to have locked eyes a single time this entire 6 hours she's been on the stand. But this is something that of course is tense for them. It's also tense in the gallery where Ventura's current husband is seated, not far from Combs's family. There's a lot of tension in that courtroom as they go into graphic details of this alleged violence.
Yeah, I can only imagine what's going on in there. Peter, as always, appreciate your insight and good luck as the trial continues, my friend.
Thank you, Mark. Take care.
I got to pull in the crew here to give me some clarification on the witness here. Deborah, is she a famous person before this, or is
she? Not really. Like, she was kind of starting her career. I think she started in modeling, maybe a little bit of acting, and that kind of bleeds over into everything. And I think Diddy was her way of possibly expanding maybe into the music world. I think she's cut a couple of singles, but I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Like, I don't know any of those records. I've never seen her live, but that was her way.
In the testimony, this is all right. So I'm not going to get into what was alleged, right? But freak off parties. Apparently, according to her testimony, Diddy was basically her first boyfriend.
I can see that.
Like, think about that. Think about your first boyfriend or girlfriend. You're in high school. Maybe if you were suave like Longoria, you had a girlfriend in middle school, maybe, right? My first girlfriend was like junior year of high school, right? I didn't have the ability to ask a girl out and I barely did as a junior. But you think about the sweet high school romance, her first boyfriend. That's what she was introduced to. That's her first relationship. Like, holy cow. It's awful, the stuff that's alleged there. And then she's pregnant there, and her husband's in the courtroom, and it's a small courtroom. Oh my God. I do not envy Peter Haralambous having to be in that courtroom every day. That's absolutely crazy. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I think looking forward, what other, like, whoever attended any of these freak off parties, they've got to be freaking out right now, right? Like, what's going to come up in testimony? We've seen allegations of well-known people that have been at the Diddy parties. Now, apparently there were two parties at once, like the normal party for normal people, and then inside and late night it was the freak off parties. Now, did the people? Yeah. Anyway, I think this is there could be a big can of worms at the end of this, and I think there might be some names come out that we're gonna be like, OMG. Anyway, Peter Haralambous could be in the courtroom again for day 4 of the Diddy trial. I think it's day 4. Yeah, day 4 of the Diddy trial today. All right, when we come back, we're going to update our top local stories. But first, let's check the Thursday morning ride around town. Are we giving it a thumbs up or thumbs down, Mike Shields?
Yeah, thumbs up now as you make your way out of Marietta into northwest Atlanta. Mark, we had a stalled vehicle in the center lane. A hero unit pulled up and blocked 3 right lanes, pushed it over to the right shoulder. Now everything's back open. 75 southbound, and you pass Mount Perrin Road exit 256. Once you get past that, just volume on the connector southbound from 17th Street down to Williams Street. Northbound delays continue leaving 166, getting past I-20. This report is brought to you by Active Pest Control. Termites are one of the most destructive pests. Let Active Pest Control develop a custom termite control plan for your home. For a free quote, visit ActivePestControl.com today. I'm Mike Schultz, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
Oh my God, you just made my day.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 10.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
For over 8 years now, QC Kinetics has been the nation's leader in non-surgical relief for joint pain, with over 50,000 satisfied patients. People with knee and back pain now living pain-free, shoulder and hip pain gone. Hey, it's Mark here. What they're doing is nothing short of remarkable. They're using regenerative cell therapy to restore the tissues in your achy joints. They're using biologic growth factors with robust healing properties carefully and strategically placed in your joint. It's a powerful and potent way to give your joints new life, repairing that old tissue. Best part, with QC Kinetics, no drugs, no surgery, and there's no downtime. This is an all-natural, cellular level option with lasting relief. The patient satisfaction reports are astonishing. Call QC Kinetics now and learn about these cutting-edge treatments that can help you live your best life, truly your best pain-free life. Call 770-285-8026, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026.
Turn your backyard into your family's favorite hangout to have fun, entertain, and celebrate the summer in a Bullfrog hot tub from Brown's Pools and Spas. Only Bullfrog offers the Jetpack Therapy system, allowing you to customize each seat to fit every body in your family. Right now, shop the Memorial Day hot tub sale. Instant rebates up to $2,500 or a free audio upgrade on select models. Hurry, offer ends May 27th. You'll be so glad you went to Brown's Pools and Spas. BrownsPools.com.
Well, is it me, or does it feel like school just started yesterday? Crazy, right? And with summer right around the corner, now's the time to clean up the wear and tear this past 9 months with help from the experts at Zero Res. I mean, if you stop and think about all the places your kids' shoes walk on a typical school day, then bring into your house, that is so gross. I say it all the time because it's true. A clean home is a healthy home, and Zero Res removes all that school yuck without harsh soaps, detergents, or chemicals. Not only is it healthier for your home and family, it keeps your carpets cleaner too, longer. How? Well, with ZR water technology. When you don't have all that dirt-attracting soap residue hanging around, you get to enjoy soft, fluffy carpets that stay that way. And right now, you can save with their May special. That's 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. Mention me, Chris Chandler, to secure this deal today. Book online at ZeroResAtlanta.com And ask about Zerorez commercial cleaning too. Zerorez, all they leave is clean.
So we're going to see if we can end that. I was thinking about going, but it's very tough because of what we're doing today and tomorrow. But, if something happened, I'd go on Friday if it was appropriate.
That's President Trump before leaving Qatar today, talking about the alleged talks between Russia and Ukraine and Turkey. Coming up at 9:35, we're going to go to the White House to get the latest on that. Apparently, it's not happening, and President Trump has strong words. But first, I love biblical archaeology. We all are familiar with the Ten Commandments. Deborah, new archaeological research says where the Ten Commandments were given to Moses from God. What can you tell us?
Yeah, so we know the story about God calling Moses to Mount Sinai, where he gave instructions to build a tabernacle and then gave him the tablets. And a lot of researchers think that's Egypt's Sinai Peninsula. But now there's some more research done that says it's probably more likely to be in Saudi Arabia, about 200 miles away from where most people think it is now. And the reason they say that is because they found some archaeological digs, like they found these pillars that are possibly the pillars that are talked about in the Bible, where Moses erected 12 pillars to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. And they also found some petroglyphs of people holding animals over their head, and they think that was like the golden calf.
Sure.
That was
okay.
All
right.
So that's yeah.
I like that.
I thought it was pretty cool.
We actually have audio. It was heard on WSB radio over 5,000 years ago of Moses getting the commandments from God.
Hear me. Oh, hear me. All pay heed. The Lord Jehovah has given unto you these 15. Wait. 10 commandments for all to obey.
Mel Brooks, History of the World Part 1. What a great movie. What would have been those extra 5 commandments that Mel dropped? Do you have any idea? Thou shalt not eat chicken on Sunday? Was that, is that, or thou shalt not make chicken on Sunday? I think we all, I'm going to talk about the 10 Commandments a little bit later on the show, because there's various interpretations of what the original 10 Commandments said. I mean, they're all generally the same, all the interpretations, but there's some nuances there. So I actually want to talk about that a little bit later on the show. When we come back after news, weather, and traffic, though, we're going to go up to the White House, what President Trump just said about the Russia-Ukraine talks. And don't forget, 10:18-ish, I'm going to give you a keyword in the 5K a day bonus blitz. Another chance for winning $1,000 on 95.5 WSB.
Beaver Direct certified, providing the highest quality vehicles at the very best prices. Every vehicle undergoes rigorous reconditioning with the industry-leading 12-month, 12,000-mile certified warranty. Visit us at BeaverToyotaComing.com and see why everyone loves Beaver Direct.
At Mayo Clinic in Florida, we are conquering the unconquerable. Our experts are leading the way with innovative regenerative medicines and biotherapeutics that can repair diseased, injured, or defective tissues and organs to help treat people with chronic medical conditions. We're making more possible at Mayo Clinic because every day we're doing what's never been done. Learn more at mayoclinic.org/possible. Mayo Clinic, you know where to go.
Is your old AC unit ready for another sweltering Atlanta summer? Probably not. Hey, good news. Mark Aaron back from my friends at Reliable. Great new deal going on right now, guys. Any size AC, just $69.99 a month, 0 down, low monthly payments, and next day installation guaranteed, or they pay you $500. Any AC, just $69.99 a month. Book an appointment for a convenient time right on their website at reliableair.com and click on the schedule service button or call or text 770-594-9969.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, fresh Heritage Farm bone-in chicken drumsticks or thighs are on sale. Just $1.49 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Don't ignore cracking bricks and concrete or boat walls. You could be ignoring foundation problems. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions knows these signs could lead to a reduction in your home's value. Visit aquaguard.net today to book your free inspection. Remember,
AquaGuard. Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 9:30. I'm Judd Hickenbotham. News this half hour brought to you by Beaver Toyota of Cumming. Our top story, oral arguments set to begin in about 30 minutes at the U.S. Supreme Court in a case involving the Trump administration's attempt to end birthright citizenship. While policies about the proposal are not the focus, justices will consider whether judges can block the president's authority to implement his policies on a national level.
The Trump administration is saying that one federal judge can't dictate national policy for everyone, while opponents say the alternative would be legal chaos.
Legal correspondent Jen Crawford says judges have rejected Trump's attempts to end birthright citizenship across the country, including 3 who applied their rulings nationwide. To show the importance of this case, the High Court has taken the very rare step of hearing a case in May. It comes this morning. It is 70 degrees in Midtown Atlanta. WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards says we'll see a mix of clouds and sun, the high ramping up into the upper 80s today. Some of us could hit 90 tomorrow. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. Governor Kemp meets a midnight deadline, signing dozens of bills into law, but he also gets out his veto pen.
The governor vetoes 7 pieces of legislation approved by lawmakers, but he signs Senate Bill 255 dealing with political investigations with some words of caution for the General Assembly. That bill will give the legislature additional procedures for issuing and enforcement of subpoenas. The governor warns lawmakers to use those procedures sparingly. He points to what he calls politically motivated investigations in Congress, which, quote, only generate sound bites and distract from important legislation. Jennifer Perry, 95.5 WSB.
Well, Publix issues a voluntary baby food recall. It affects certain 4-ounce pouches of its Greenwise pear, kiwi, spinach, and pea baby food. Publix says the pouches have the potential to be contaminated with elevated lead levels. Affected products have a Best By date of November 1st of this year. They were sold in several states, including Georgia. Baby food can be returned to Publix stores for a refund. Repairs continue this morning after a big sinkhole opens up on a busy road through downtown Atlanta.
That has 3 lanes closed on Shirley Franklin Boulevard, not far from the state capitol between Rawson Street and Memorial Drive. The Atlanta Department of Watershed Management says it's trying to assess infrastructure that caused that damage. They're urging drivers to avoid the area. No exact timeline on when the road will reopen. They do have traffic control measures in place for anyone who drives through that area. No word on what caused the sinkhole. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
And it appears many new moms and dads are looking to their grandparents for some name inspiration.
Babynames.com says classic old-fashioned names are all the rage again. For girls, think Eleanor, Eloise, Elodie, Alma, Margaret, Nora, and Bennett. For boys, Theodore, Oliver, Owen, Silas, and Jasper.
And Deborah Rodriguez reports despite the new trend, though, Liam remains the top boy's name for an 8th straight year. Olivia now tops the girls' list for 6 years in a row. It's 9:33 as we check your money. A down start on Wall Street this morning. All major indices are down, including the Dow, which is down almost 0.5% right now. Now, live team coverage of traffic and weather. We start the WSB 24-hour traffic center and Mike Shields.
Hey, Judd, Sunday, new travel advisory in Fairburn with a crash. 2 right lanes blocked right now. I-85 northbound just past Sonoya Road, Highway 74, exit 61, and the delays quickly stacking up. So if you're leaving Palmetto, think about using Highway 29 as an alternate into Fairburn to get around those delays. Also looking for maybe new trouble now in Marietta, 75 southbound and South Marietta Parkway, exit 263. Delays starting to fill in as you lead North Marietta Parkway. I'm Mike Shields, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. A mix of sun and clouds today, heating up to a high of 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Rain showers and a few thunderstorms for Saturday morning, cloudy through the afternoon, high 85.
69 degrees in Holly Springs, 70 in Covington, 70 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 9:34. More news at 10, breaking news when it happens. I'm Judd Hickenbotham, 95.5 WSB. If you have the WSB radio app.
If you have the WSB
all
app.
the notifications you need.
If you have the WSB app.
All the local and breaking news alerts you need.
Breaking news in Cobb County.
All in one place.
We'll send out an alert on the WSB app.
The 95.5 WSB app.
Download it from your app store today.
I just hope that Russia and Ukraine are able to do something. Because
that's President Trump in Qatar this morning talking about the ceasefire talks that were supposed to happen in Turkey. President has updated comments. We'll go to the White House next on the Mark Arum Show.
I've found your next go-to service team for Porsche, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi. It's Wolf Pen European Auto Repair in Roswell. Honest pricing with certified factory techs who won't run up the tab with repairs you don't need. See the difference when you search Wolf Pen Auto Repair.
Men,
Trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
You've had your windshield wipers on high a lot lately, and they're getting the job done, but how is your roof holding up after all this heavy rain? Dave Baker here from my local experts at Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. It's a fact. Water is your home's #1 enemy, so weather like we've been having recently can really challenge your roof. You may not even see signs that your roof is leaking or damaged, so after weather like this, think of Findlay first and schedule a free roof analysis. Findlay will send a highly trained professional to your home who will thoroughly examine your roof. No obligation, no charge. Findlay is the best. They installed the roof on my home, and I trust them, and you can too. Findlay's replaced over 65,000 local roofs. They've mastered the roof replacement process with impeccable, high-quality work. They've seen it all and replaced it all. Schedule your free roof analysis at FindlayRoofing.com. Roof.
All right, friends, you ready to feel old? Meadow Soprano turns 44 years old today. How is that possible? Jamie Lynn Sigler, born May 15th, 1981. She, of course, played Tony's daughter, Meadow, in one of the greatest television shows of all time. I don't know if it's going to hold up, but it changed the scope of television, Sopranos. Meadow is 44?
Our dads are in the garbage business, and it's always good for a laugh. And yeah, they brush up against organized crime. But you think they control every slime ball and illegal gun in like 100 communities?
Unbelievable. She's 44. 44. I'm only 36. How am I younger than Meadow Soprano? I need to rewatch that. Well, Deborah, I'm rewatching A Game of Thrones for the 9th time, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
I suggested a new show to you.
I know. Well, I was already one season into Game of Thrones rewatch, and I'll watch your new show when I finish that. Anyway, quick update: 10:18. I'm going to give you another keyword in the 5K day bonus blitz. Another chance for you to win $1,000. 11:37. Deborah's got tickets to see Keith Urban. We are monitoring two big court cases today. Obviously, the Diddy court case resumes. Really jaw-dropping testimony yesterday from the prosecution's star witness, and in about 22 minutes, Supreme Court is going to hear oral arguments related to the birthright citizenship case, but they're not going to probably address birthright citizenship. They're going to address the power that the lower level courts have when it comes to injunctions against the president and his executive orders. The legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum is going to join us after the news at 11:35 and give us insight there. All right, so President Trump continuing his Mideast tour. There were thoughts that he actually might extend the tour and go to Turkey to maybe take part in these Ukraine-Russia ceasefire deals. Negotiations. Apparently, those negotiations are falling apart. So the president just left Qatar on his way to Abu Dhabi, I believe, and he made some comments on Air Force One. Let's go to the White House. CNN's Elena Treen.
Because he's kind of been flirting all week with this idea that he could, upend some of his plans in the Middle East to go to Turkey and attend these meetings between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and potentially Russian President Vladimir Putin, if Putin were actually to go. Now, we did hear yesterday from several top Trump administration officials that such a meeting was not on the books, that even though the president had floated it, that it was not going to happen. But then on Air Force One, in that conversation you're referring to, he again said that perhaps he could go and add it to the end of his trip tomorrow when he's leaving the UAE. Take a listen, though, to what he told reporters on board Air Force One.
Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay? And obviously he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there. And I don't believe anything's going to happen, whether you like it or not, until he and I get together, but we're going to have to get it solved because too many people are dying.
So this is actually quite different from what we have been hearing from President Donald Trump when it comes to this for months now. He's now saying that he believes the only way they can find an end to this war is if he gets together face to face and sits down with Putin. And that was really what a lot of this idea, this flirtation of trying to go to Turkey for these talks was about, because essentially he is saying, if Putin goes, I will go. And he didn't think that Putin would show up unless he was there. And so really now we're seeing all of these talks kind of come together. We know that Zelensky is there. His presence after the president had urged him to take this meeting. I should note that Putin was actually the one who suggested in the first place that the two leaders sit down together. And I've had some conversations with Trump administration folks about this as well. And what is the purpose? What does he want his Trump administration officials who are going, people like Steve Witkoff and Keith Kellogg, what does he want them? What is the message he wants them to deliver to the Russians? And essentially, I was told it's frustration, that the president is very frustrated with the way that the Russians have been handling these talks thus far. So all of this, of course, ongoing. We're going to see, hopefully, get some details out of how these meetings go today. And still, the president is not taking off the table that he may ultimately go.
Interesting. All right, so that's Elaine Deschreen at the White House. So the president there, you heard him on Air Force One, said, if this deal is going to happen, it's going to have to be me and Putin. We have to be sitting at that table. Now, there were hopes that, this meeting in Turkey would lead to a ceasefire deal, but apparently it's not going well logistically. Apparently, the Russian delegation, I don't know, scheduling got mixed up, but the Russian delegation flew into one city in Turkey, and the Ukrainians flew into a totally different city. So that whoever was the travel agent messed up. So they're not even in the same city right now. So they got to work that out. I do like the idea, though, of President Trump. If he extends his Mideast tour and says, screw it, let's go to Turkey, let's get this done. Like, that could be a game changer when it comes to the negotiations. I just can't imagine, Deborah, though. You heard Elaine Deschreen there say, can you imagine right now Putin and Zelensky in the same room at the same table? Like, they've been at war for
opposite ends of the table.
Yeah, but I mean, even in the same room. Like, think about the hatred that those two have for each other. Like, I know the White House, the Oval Office blow up was uncomfortable. Multiply that by 1 million when you've got literally two heads of armies that have been destroying each other for years now. I don't know if I wouldn't recommend that. I'd say that'd be like the absolute worst divorce hearing you've ever heard about in your life, times 1,000. I wouldn't recommend that. You want to get Putin in the room with Trump? Okay. They'll be civilized. But Putin and Zelensky in the same room? That's like MMA. Putin's I think he does jiu-jitsu or something. He's older, but I think Putin would win a fight between, not that it's going to,
He's going to throw blows.
It's not going to come down to fisticuffs or anything like that. One more quick update. This is Steve Rosenberg, BBC News editor from Russia.
It contains, for example, Vladimir Medinsky, who is a presidential aide who headed the Russian delegation 3 years ago. There's also a deputy defense minister, a deputy foreign minister, and a senior figure from the Russian general staff. But when you consider the rumours and the speculation that's been swirling over the last 48 hours or so, that Vladimir Putin himself might appear, it does look like quite a low-level delegation.
Very interesting. So we'll obviously monitor that. So, you know how I feel for, Deborah? Is Karen Travers, the White House correspondent, friend of the show, right? So she is in the Mideast covering Trump, not on Air Force One. Like, she had to fly commercial from D.C. to Germany to Qatar, right? And I'm assuming she had to book her own trip to Abu Dhabi, right? And wherever the president's going, she's got to book her own trip. And then if he just free balls it at the end, he's like, we're going to Turkey now. Like, she's got to, does she call her boss and be like, do you want me to go to Turkey? Like, what, it's not like she gets to just ride along with the president. She's got to follow him in commercial. That's a lot of sky miles for Karen Travers. Thankfully, not the longest plane trip, though, we heard about. Deborah, tell me about a 28-hour flight that recently occurred.
Yeah, United Airlines passengers spent 28 hours trying to get across the Pacific because their flight made 2 unscheduled landings. Now, it was supposed to be Sydney to San Francisco, which is 13 hours, and that's quite long enough.
Yeah.
But the flight was delayed an hour at the airport, which was already annoying. And then after 4.5 hours in the sky, it had to change course and land in Samoa because there was a medical condition going on, so they had to stop there. They were there for 3 hours. They took off again, but then they had to stop in Hawaii because by that time, the crew had exceeded their hours, and they had to do a crew swap. So it eventually landed in San Francisco 15 hours late.
That's a nightmare. Like a 28-hour unscheduled trip. Like was it supposed to be nonstop, Deborah, between San Fran and Sydney? So
Sydney to San Francisco.
You pay. I mean, as someone that's just tried to book a flight to Japan, you pay more for a direct flight. Now, I obviously saw how expensive that was. I'm like, all right, we're going to stop in L.A. We're going to have a layover, but you pay more for that direct trip. So they flew from San Francisco. Then they had to stop in Samoa, which I would love to visit. My favorite tag team wrestling combo, or the Wild Samoans, they call them, which is probably culturally inappropriate now to call them the Wild.
Probably not.
But I love those Samoans. They were brothers. They were these huge, they were my absolute favorite tag team wrestling team. So I would love to go to Samoa. So they stop at Samoa for medical emergency. Then they got to go to Hawaii, which is not on the way to Australia because the crew timed out. And then they go to Sydney. Wouldn't happen on Delta. That was United, right, Deborah? That was not a Delta flight.
It was United
It
Airlines.
was United Airlines. Ed Bastian, if you're listening, come in. I want to interview you, man. No hard-hitting questions. I'm just a fan. I'm a fan of you and everything that Delta does. I am. From the Biscoffs to the lounges to everything in between. I love my hometown airline, Delta Airlines. All right, 28 hours. Say a prayer that you never have to deal with a 28-hour flight. All right, when we come back, Mark Cuban is leaving Shark Tank. Interesting take there. The Falcons' new schedule's released, and a crazy DoorDash delivery scam. Do you guys use DoorDash for deliveries? The numbers that Deborah's going to tell us they're jaw-dropping. This is a monstrous DoorDash delivery scam. We'll tell you about that when we come back. But first, let's check the ride around town on this Thursday morning. Live with the latest, here's Mike Shields.
And Mark, better news in Fairburn. Had a crash working in 2 right lanes. It is now on the right shoulder. I-85 northbound at Sonoya Road, exit 61. Those delays quickly improving as you leave Palmetto into Fairburn. Also, just watch trouble move off to the right in Gwinnett County, 85 northbound, right at Pleasant Hill Road, exit 104. And another crash on the west side perimeter moved to the right shoulder, 285 northbound, the inner loop at South Atlanta Road, exit 16. This report is brought to you by Georgia United Credit Union, ready for a financial partner that puts you first. Discover the difference at Georgia United Credit Union. Visit gucu.org/join, insured by NCUA. I'm Mike Shields, 95.5 WSB.
The morning rush hour, the evening rush hour, and everything in between.
Slow spots are starting to build up the east side perimeter on 285 North.
Tune in 24/7 with the Triple Team Traffic
We've
Center.
had several breakdowns, including one in the express lane.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Here at Massey, we've seen the damage termites can cause. That's why we've protected homes from termite damage for almost 100 years. Our termite protection program doesn't just protect your home from termites, it gives you peace of mind. That's why our termite protection guarantee covers your home and all the things in it. When we protect against termites, we protect families. Schedule your free inspection today at MasseyServices.com. Massey Services. Expect more and get it.
Take me out to the ball. Now I'm going to stop singing. Hey, it's Mark Aaron back from my pals at Xfinity. If you went to the ballpark recently, you'll notice you can get Xfinity Wi-Fi at your home of the Braves. But if you can't make it to the park, you want to watch the game at home, Xfinity has you covered there as well. Using my Xfinity voice remote, all I have to say is Atlanta Braves, and boom, it takes me to the Braves game. Not to mention the Xfinity Sports app, which is enhancing all of your sports viewing at home. Stats, analysis, data, everything you want as a sports fan, Xfinity has it. And, of course, with their extra strong internet and Wi-Fi at home, you don't have to be on the couch watching the game. You can take your smartphone or tablet, stream it live on the back patio, the front porch, having a nice cold glass of lemonade, watching your favorite teams play. Xfinity is a game changer. It's a 5-tool talent, as they say in baseball. That's what Xfinity is. Learn more about Xfinity's amazing products at Xfinity.com. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit your local store today.
Attention seniors, do you want more personalized healthcare with more one-on-one time with your doctor? Then join us at the grand opening of CenterWell Marietta. CenterWell offers senior-focused primary care that's centered on you. Celebrate with us Tuesday, May 20th, near the Walmart off Highway 41 here in Marietta from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Enjoy food, music, and more at this free community event. Plus, tour the new doctor's office and meet the care team. For details, visit CometoCenterwellGeorgia.com. That's CometoCenterwellGeorgia.com.
Get the dirt out before school's out and call Zero Res. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $129. Mention me, Chris Chandler, to secure this deal today. Book online at ZeroResAtlanta.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Check out this fresh deal on General Mills Giant Size Cereal. Select 20 to 29-ounce varieties or 3 for only $10 when you buy 3 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Your home deserves to shine inside and outside. That's why I trust Wise Guys Pro Wash to keep my home and deck and driveway looking their best. So just mention me, Chris Chandler, and get $70 off your next service. Don't wait. The appointment's booked. Quick, go to wiseguysprowash.com.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
I left my heart in San Francisco.
That's the legend Tony Bennett. 62 years ago today, he won Record of the Year, the Grammy for Record of the Year. I left my heart in San Francisco. Tony passed? Tony with us, Deborah?
No, he's passed.
He did pass. He lasted a long time, though. Godspeed, Tony Bennett. I left my heart in San Francisco 63 years ago today. All right, so we got some breaking news when it comes to Mark Cuban and Shark Tank, but I want to first talk, Deborah, about this DoorDash delivery scam. I've used DoorDash, but I tend to use Uber Eats for my deliveries, but DoorDash just doesn't do food. They deliver just about anything, right?
Mm-hmm, that's right.
And what's this scam all about? Because the numbers here are monstrous.
So this DoorDash driver, he recently pled guilty to stealing more than $2.5 million from the company. Him and another person that worked at DoorDash, they were able to manipulate some software to find all the high-value orders. So, not the $7 sandwiches,
Sure.
but when people order like bulk furniture, really big things, he would go in, manipulate those orders, and mark them as delivered, and then grab that people's information as well. Sometimes the deliveries weren't even real. He would just make them up, and he would take all of that money and siphon it into his account. So he faces a maximum of 20 years in prison and a fine of just $250,000.
All right. I'm not sure exactly how the scam works because I'm not smart enough to figure out how much was the money though?
He stole $2.5 million.
All right. Longoria, do I think that's a smart criminal or a dumb criminal?
I think it's a smart criminal.
I agree with you. I do not think that is a dumb criminal. Now, as Deborah mentioned, if he got busted for, scamming on $7 sandwiches, he scammed $2 million. Now, there was a smart crime, but a dumb getaway. You steal $2 million, you should no longer be in the United States.
Oh, yeah.
You should have
had a plan.
Exactly.
Plan.
In a country without extradition, whatever. So it was a smart crime, but a dumb getaway. And now he's facing 20 years in jail. But he only has to pay back $200,000. I guess because he spent the $1.8 million already on other stuff.
That's it.
Anyway. All right, Mark Cuban is leaving Shark Tank. Now, I've seen Shark Tank, but I never actively hunt it out. If I'm at a hotel, I'll turn it on, and it's there. And we had the local family that was on Shark Tank, but I'm not a religious watcher of Shark Tank. But Mr. Cuban is leaving, Deborah.
Yeah, he's going to leave Shark Tank. He's invested in over $29 million in 85 companies. His official last episode's going to air on Friday. And he says he's leaving just because his kids are getting older and he wants to be able to spend more time with them. And a lot of times shooting is when the kids have off. So that's his big reason for leaving.
This is Cuban announcing to the audience he's done.
Why is this your final season? Was it a hard decision?
So talking about our kids, yeah, it's a really hard decision. I love the show. I love the message it sends. But we shoot in June and September, which is right when my kids get out of school and right when they go back to school. And I was missing it all these years. And now that they're teenagers and 21, this is like my last shot.
You don't get the time back.
No, you don't. Especially now. It used to be we could dictate their schedule.
Yeah.
Now they dictate our schedule.
Correct.
You know how it goes.
Yeah, of course we should.
And he also sold the Dallas Mavericks recently. What does he know that we don't know? He's like getting out of everything. He's ready to go to Mars or something. He knows something that is... I wonder, in the history of Shark Tank, and it's a wildly successful show, are the Sharks... Overall, have they made money or lost money investing in these companies?
So this story says that Cuban's down about $5 million.
Okay, well, which is like $5
That's
to
nothing,
me.
really.
Yeah.
But I wonder if if there are other sharks that perform better. Because one of the episodes I've seen, some of them are no-brainers. Like, oh, that's a great idea. I'll invest in that. But some are so weird, and they invest in how that's not going to be successful. Why would you invest in Longoria's Empanada Palace? That's not a sustainable business model. Maybe if you win $1,000 today, you can invest in Longoria's Empanada Castle. What did I call it? Palace?
Palace.
Yeah,
Castle. Castle sounds better.
Yeah, Palace. Coming up at 10:18, I'm going to give you a keyword in the 5K day bonus blitz. Another chance for you to $1,000 here on 95.5 WSB. Still to come, we're going to monitor the Supreme Court. They're going to hear oral arguments in about 3 minutes regarding that birthright citizenship case. At 10:35, Thane Rosenbaum, legal analyst from CBS, is going to join us live and unpack it all for us. When we come back, we'll update our top local stories. And we're going to head back to the White House. More in-depth coverage on President Trump's trip to the Middle East. Apparently held a rally at a military base, a U.S. military base in the Mideast. Jeff Zeleny was there. We'll hear from him. Social media is active throughout the broadcast at Mark Arum and at WSB Radio.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Welcome to Window Wisdom with North Georgia Replacement Windows. Today, we're talking with the experts about Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows. Ted Kirk and Jonathan Cullum, owners of North Georgia Replacement Windows.
What's the difference in price shopping versus making an investment when it comes to shopping for windows?
If you're just price shopping, you will likely end up with an inferior product and installation, and your windows will likely need to be replaced again. With your investment in Infinity fiberglass windows, you get a superior product and replace your windows with windows you'll never need to replace.
With all the different home styles in Georgia, how does the Infinity window match up?
Designed by a wood window architect at Marvin, Infinity fiberglass windows fit the look of your home like traditional wood windows, but don't rot. There's also less window frame, so they appeal to contemporary homeowners too. Less frame equals more light and bigger views.
What about the warranty on the Infinity fiberglass windows?
Infinity from Marvin fiberglass windows are the only premium window with a limited lifetime warranty. Backed by a company that's been in business for over 100 years, North Georgia Replacement Windows also has a lifetime service warranty.
So, Jonathan, how does someone find out more about the Infinity fiberglass windows? What's the process?
We're the only authorized retailer in Georgia for the Infinity fiberglass windows, where we can provide a free in-home consultation and proposal with no gimmicks.
Jonathan and Ted, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, experience, and expertise.
piece. Right now at North Georgia Replacement Windows, it's time for stars, stripes, and special savings. You'll save up to 20% off your entire project. Plus, up to 12 months, no interest, no payments. That's right, up to 20% off your entire project. Plus, a special financing offer. Up to 12 months, no interest, no payments. Visit our beautiful new showroom in Alpharetta and check out all the details on these special offers at ngwindows.com. ngwindows.com.
Infinity from Marvin, replacement windows, yeah!
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good morning. It is 10 o'clock. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by TE Certified Electrical Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Let's start with your money and the economy locally. Georgia's unemployment rate holding steady for the 11th straight month now.
The state labor department says Georgia's April unemployment rate is 3.6%. That's 0.6 lower than the national unemployment rate. The accommodations and food services sector saw the most job growth last month. The biggest job losses came in information services. Labor Commissioner Barbara Rivera-Holmes says Georgia's sustained economic success via its labor force is a testament to the power of collaboration between the state government, business leaders, and communities. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
And while we're talking about your money, Walmart says that they're going to be raising prices because of tariffs. Walmart saying the price hikes will begin later this month. Your weather for today, partly cloudy, drying out, but heating up this afternoon. We're going to be near 90, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She's predicting a high this afternoon of 87. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just over 2 minutes. A downtown Atlanta sinkhole closes multiple lanes on a busy roadway where repairs are continuing this hour.
The sinkhole's on Shirley Franklin Boulevard between Rawson Street and Memorial Drive, close to the state capitol. The Atlanta Department of Watershed Management has 3 lanes closed as they make repairs there. The department hasn't given an exact timeline on when the lanes could reopen. They're asking drivers to stay away from the area, but traffic control measures are in place. No word on what caused the sinkhole. Austin Eller, 95.5 WSB.
Flags are lowered to half staff at state buildings today in honor of police officers killed in the line of duty on this Peace Officers Memorial Day. The observance is part of National Police Week. 7 Metro Atlanta officers killed in the line of duty over the past year were honored at a candlelight vigil in Washington, D.C. this week. They include South Fulton Police Captain Elio Garcia, who was killed in a crash last month. A broken heart really can kill you, and men are twice as likely to die from it. It's called broken heart syndrome. They're twice as likely to die from it compared to women. New research out of the University of Arizona says the condition is brought on by extreme stress or emotional distress. It can lead to shortness of breath, heart palpitations, and other cardiovascular symptoms. And after looking over 4 years of data, researchers found the condition was fatal for men 11% of the time, compared with around 5% for women. The reasons for the discrepancies aren't fully understood. Researchers say, though, that it might be related to hormonal differences in men and women. There is a baby food recall you need to know about this morning. Publix is recalling Greenwise pear, kiwi, spinach, and pea baby food. The reason is it could be contaminated with elevated levels of lead. It was sold at nearly a dozen stores, including here in Georgia. It has a best if used by date of November 2025. Publix saying that the baby food has been removed from their store shelves. If you have the recalled baby food, you can take it back to Publix for a refund. Ford's recalling nearly 274,000 Expedition and Lincoln Navigator SUVs. That's the model year 2022 through 24. It's because of a potential brake issue. The front brake lines may contact the engine air cleaner outlet pipe, possibly causing a brake fluid leak and loss of braking power. And how about this? Imagine eating cookies and losing weight.
Italian researchers have developed a cookie that seems to act like Ozempic. They extracted a compound from the wormwood plant, which seems to trigger the gut in a similar way to weight loss injections. They then mixed that with dark chocolate, which has similar properties, to make cookies. Volunteers said they felt full, and blood tests showed an increase in the hormone levels associated with fullness.
And Vicki Barker reports a full clinical trial is now planned. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is down slightly. NASDAQ is also down, and so is the S&P. It's time now for live team coverage, traffic, and weather. Smiling Mark McKay joining us now with a look at your roads.
Good morning, Sabrina. We've been watching a slowdown out of Suwanee into Duluth on I-85 southbound. Traffic tubers tipped us off this breakdown. We see it on the jam cam. Left center lane knocked out 85 south at Old Peachtree Road. Once you get out of Duluth into Norcross, you're still going to be in slow traffic, jammed up as you leave Highway 316 down to Indian Trail Road. 400 still working a slow zone through Roswell at Holcomb Bridge Road. Exit 7, right lane delays leaving Marietta Marietta on I-75 southbound from Delk Road down to I-285. Smile Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today, high 87. That's trending about 6 degrees above average for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Watching for heavy rain and thunderstorms early Saturday morning, cloudy in the afternoon, high 85.
It is 71 degrees in Brookhaven, Cumming, and Ackworth. We'll have more news at 10:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Welcome back to the show and a good Thursday morning to you. Mark Arum here, you there. It's 10:05, 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. This is the Mark Arum Show, live Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon on 95.5 WSB. The whole family with us today. Deborah is the executive producer of the program. Longoria, the Stoic Eskimo on the other side of the takeout window. Vinny Drip screens your calls. Coming up in 13 minutes. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to give you a keyword in the 5K a day bonus blitz. Another chance for you to win $1,000 right here on 95.5 WSB. Oral arguments just began at the Supreme Court, hearing arguments on birthright citizenship. Not so much the argument about or against or for birthright citizenship. That's kind of, we think, protected by the 14th Amendment. But the power of lower courts to stop executive orders from the president. That's basically what the Supreme Court is hearing. We're going to monitor that. And after the news at 11:30, Thane Rosenbaum, CBS News legal analyst, is going to join us and discuss what's been going on during oral arguments. I've got a big local story coming up in just a second about postal deliveries here in the state of Georgia. But there's another local story, and I'm so glad that Smile and Mark McKay is doing our traffic at the 10 o'clock hour, because I want to pick your brain on this, Smile. And thanks for joining the Mark Arum Show.
Oh, always a pleasure.
All right, so here's the story. It was posted by Veronica Waters on WSBRadio.com, and it concerns Peachtree DeKalb Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're the PDK expert, right? You've spent more time there than anyone.
Many years.
All right, so this is the way the story reads. Basically, a proposal from PDK, Peachtree DeKalb Airport, could soon bring in millions of dollars in new revenue as county leaders look for creative ways to boost funding. At the request of DeKalb County's new CEO, department heads were asked to explore options to save or generate money, kind of like a Doge for DeKalb County, try to get some more cash in the coffers. In response, PDK officials are proposing weight-based landing fees for transient aircraft planes that use the airport but are not based there. County Commissioner Ted Terry said, quote, PDK is the second busiest airport in Georgia, noting that the airport recorded 24,677 billable arrivals last year. He goes on to say, if we had transient landing fee as we're proposing today, that would generate about $3.2 million in revenue. All right, this is where your PDK expertise comes in, Smiling. So basically 24,677 arrivals at Peachtree DeKalb, and that doesn't include like the WSB Skycopter or private planes that are there. Those are folks that are flying into Atlanta on private planes for special events, et cetera, et cetera.
Probably so. Have you ever seen the runways where they're basically parking lots when we have a big event here?
Yes.
That is very popular. It's very popular when the Masters is here. Private planes are parked here, and then folks make that ride out I-20 east to Augusta, since the Augusta airport gets overloaded when it comes to Masters time. That is a brilliant idea because it is very busy, and much to the regret of folks who moved in that area, the noise complaints will continue for a long time.
You move to an area near the airport, you got to get. All right, so I just need some clarification on this. So let's say Erickson flies his private plane from Macon to PDK to do an event in the city. And he doesn't store his plane there, right? He stores it to Macon. Does he have to pay a landing fee, a storage fee, or anything traditionally when he lands and parks at PDK?
I'm not an expert on that, but
No.
it certainly would sound like it, yeah.
Yeah, because there's got to be some. You can't just willy-nilly everything, right? There's got to be some sort. It's like if you park a boat in a dock in Lower Manhattan. My buddy used to work there in college at the it was the marina right near the Twin Towers, Battery Park Marina, and people like rich people would bring their mega yachts in, and they would charge them like $4,800 a day for parking. You complain about parking at like a Braves game for $30. It was like $4,800. So I would imagine there's some sort of similar fee system for for airports when private craft land where it's not their home airport.
You got my brain working this morning, Mark. If you're on a boat and you want to go in and get some lunch somewhere, what about the folks who want to fly in and pop into the Downwind or the 57th?
Yeah.
Have them, parking fee, go in, have some lunch, and then go back out. Then the county could generate more money that way. 2 great restaurants on airport property over there.
Yeah, I mean, I know you've got some sources there, Smile. See if you can find out what the exact fee system is currently, because
I'll have to do that.
Because what they're proposing would generate $3.2 million. That money would go to infrastructure repairs at the airport, updates, and potential renovations. By the way, some flights, including military and medical aircraft, would be exempt from this proposed fee. Now, there's got to be a fee, and I know you've heard me tell this story, Smiling, a bunch of times, but years ago, because there definitely is a fee. So years ago, I was filling in for Captain Herb in the Skycopter, and I had a flight that was leaving Hartsfield. I think I was going to Connecticut to see my parents, and I had to fill in for Captain Herb during PM drive. And Peachtree DeKalb Airport is in DeKalb County, right, on the north side, and I had to get to Hartsfield-Jackson on the south side. And after we landed the chopper, I don't know, Smiling, like 6 p.m., it used to be the landing time.
6:30. Yeah.
6:30.
Yep.
There was no way, let's say my flight was at 8. There was no way I was going to be able to make it from Peachtree DeKalb to the airport. So I had the helicopter pilot, Tom Wagner was his name at the time, during that flight. And I packed my carry-on luggage with me, just like a backpack or a duffel bag. And I said, hey, Tom, when we're done with traffic, can you just drop me off at the airport so I can make my flight? Because there's no way I could drive from Peachtree DeKalb to Hartsfield-Jackson to make my flight on time. He said, yeah, no problem. They've got a helipad there. So, and this was in the summer, Smiling, in the really hot WSB Skycopter. So I was wearing a Hawaiian shirt and like cut off shorts and, slip on shoe. Like I was a mess because it's so hot. It used to get so hot in the chopper. That was my thing. So I finished my last traffic report as we're heading to the airport. And then the WSB Skycopter lands at this private helipad at Hartsfield-Jackson. I don't know if it's still there or not.
It's probably over by where the Delta Flight Museum is, on that side,
I think
on the north side of the airport, I believe.
So I get off and I grab my duffel bag and I'm getting out of the chopper, and this guy in a suit comes up to me. He's like, hey, how are you? I'm like, I'm great. I'm like, I need to get to the Delta Gate, whatever terminal it was. He's like, no problem, come this way. Walks me to a limo.
Oh.
Yeah, walks me to a limo, takes my bag. I'm wearing, I'm sweat-stained Hawaiian shirt. I look like a schlub or an internet billionaire, apparently he thought I was an internet billionaire because he gives me a bottle of water, guides me to this limo. And as we're walking into the limo, he goes, should I just bill the tail number on the helicopter? And I say, yep, bill the tail number on the helicopter. They'll take care. So whatever it was, there was some sort of a fee to land the chopper at Hartsfield-Jackson.
And then shuttle you to the terminal.
And then shuttle me. Like, he must have thought I was like Mark Zuckerberg or something.
Apparently
Maybe that you're a Magnum PI. You're dressed like a Hawaiian shirt, shorts.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, see if you can on your sources. I'm just curious because there has to be some sort of toll collected by Peachtree DeKalb when a private plane comes in from like Colorado or New York City or something.
All right.
Thanks, Smiling. Smiling had no idea I was going to drop that on him. I like it though, right? Generate revenue for the airport, the county, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I never heard from the owner of the helicopter. Like they never
said
the
next week. Like,
no.
What, man? It cost me $50,000.
Yeah, exactly. I have no idea what it costs. But like, would you like me to bill the tail number on the chopper? Yes. Put it on the Underhill account. Yeah, put it on the Underhills. All right. Anyway, so there's one big local story. Here's another local story. And kudos to our buddy Graham Carroll, who is part of Atlanta's Morning News. Now I can't find the link he sent. It has to do with, there it is. We got new data in when it comes to USPS deliveries here in the state of Georgia. And listen, we've talked, what is it, Deborah? Palmetto? The Palmetto facility?
Palmetto one,
yeah.
yep.
Where mail goes to, I don't want to say die, but go into like a 3-week coma. Like that has been the heart of the issue. So check out these numbers, guys. 2-day on-time rates. All right. So this is, I guess, whatever, a 2-day, a letter, a pack, whatever. It's supposed to be there in 2 days. The national average is 81.9% on-time arrival on a 2-day United States Postal Service package. 81.9% is the national average. Here in Georgia, it's 61.6%. Over 20% less than the national average. The only state worse than us is Ohio. Yeah, Newman was like, oh, that's the plummest gig in post office history is the Hawaii route. So, all right, so Hawaii's got the best on that. That makes sense. All right, 3 to 5 day on-time rates. 3 to 5 day. National average, 64.2%. I don't know why. It should be, if you have a water window, you should get better delivery
you should
rate,
get there
right?
better, right? Yeah.
3 to 5 day on-time rates. National average, 64.2%. Georgia, only 54.5%. So just over half of the 3 to 5 day packages get on time here in Georgia. We are only beating Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi. We're on the wrong side of that list. Anytime you're grouped up with Louisiana, Alabama, and Mississippi, I don't care what it is, you're on the wrong side of that list. Best in the U.S., Hawaii again, 9%. That's a 12% drop over 15 years. What's going on? Is it because more people are sending packages? There are few people delivering packages? Is it we haven't been able to keep up with the times technologically? 3 to 5 day national average has dropped from 91.6% to 73.2%. So Georgia is bad, but it is a nationwide decline, except if you live in Hawaii. If you want your mail on time, you go to Hawaii. But you're going to be paying $14 for a gallon of milk. That's all I remember about Hawaii is everything was super, super expensive. But if you win $1,000, you could afford a $14 expensive. But if you win $1,000, you could afford a $14 gallon of milk. And you can win $1,000 right now. Ooh, I like this keyword too. All right, 5K a day bonus blitz, friends. 10 a.m. keyword is bacon. BACON, bacon. Enter the keyword bacon into the WSB Radio app or at WSBradio.com/cash. You have until 10:30 a.m. to enter the keyword, win $1,000. Again, the keyword is bacon. BACON. And don't forget, if you get a phone call after 10:30 from a number you don't recognize, answer it.
Town still a bit slow on the connector northbound, leaving University Avenue up to John Lewis Freedom Parkway. This report sponsored by the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. The 2025 FIFA Club World Cup is coming to Atlanta. Get ready for a global soccer showdown at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Don't just watch history, be there. Get tickets at FIFA.com/tickets. Smiler Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
He's the guy at the desk next to you.
So if you can't handle your real face, then don't tell me how to handle my life.
He's your co-pilot for the ride home.
They have a lot more money now because they stopped kneeling.
Eric Von Hessler.
Things are going to get broken.
Eric Von Hessler.
Today at 3.
95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
Have you gotten your grilling preparations and fixins for Memorial Day? It's coming up. I've got mine from Omaha Steaks, and you should too, because during the Memorial Day sale, you get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. And listen, you're going to get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. Just look for the promo code box, put in my name, Eric. You'll get $35 off and already 50% off site-wide. So I loaded up on hamburgers and the gourmet jumbo franks. Of course, my wife loves the caramel apple tartlets. But go load up your cart with deliciousness. Whatever you want, 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks for Memorial Day. It is deliciousness delivered to your door. I've already got my order in. I did save you guys some food, so go check it out. omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide. The Memorial Day sale happening right now. Use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply.
We've all got one, and there's never just one thing on it. Your home improvement to-do list. Trust the Plus. Painting Plus. The Plus covers everything on your list. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and of course, painting.
Hi, I'm Charlie, the owner of Painting Plus. We do it all, and we do it right. Trust the Plus family of businesses for everything on your list.
If your home's exterior has it, the Plus can improve it. Painting Plus. Siding, gutters, windows, decks, porches, roofing, and more. Trust the Plus. PaintingPlus.com.
Just a word of wisdom from your friend Mark Aram. A damaged roof doesn't always lead to an entire roof replacement project. As a full-service Atlanta roofing company, my friends at Dr. Roof offer comprehensive roof repairs that will lengthen the lifespan of your existing roof and ensure that it will continue to protect your home as it should. It's storm season. Get peace of mind from my friends at Dr. Roof. They've been in business for over 35 years. And Dr. Roof offers up to a 5-year warranty on roof repairs. Get all the info online at drroof.com.
Cancer upends your life. We're doing all we can to change that. At Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University, we're reimagining the care experience to ease the burden of cancer. With experts in your cancer and the research, trials, and treatments you can only get here. All so you can focus on what matters most, the best chance of living a full life. Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University. Cancer care designed around you and your life. EmoryHealthcare.org/Winship.
Home is where the heart is. It's your happy place, right? But when bugs and critters bust in, not so happy. And at Breda guarantees old and new entry points, while others only cover what they originally sealed. Breda, they handle bugs and critters the best in the biz. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
Rates are up, rates are down. Every day it's something different. If you're curious about what's going on and when the best time will be to buy or refinance your home, call the experts I trust at Myland. This is Scott Slade. There's a reason the guys and gals at Myland are able to close loans that other local banks just can't. The folks at Myland are local and somebody you can trust to make sure you get the best loan for your needs at the best rate. You don't have to take my word for it. Here are lines from some recent testimonials. Myland kept me up to date and informed with every step of the way. They make you feel like you're one of the most important clients they have. Myland specializes in home financing, and they've seen it all. So whether you want to access the equity in your home to pay for other debts, buy a new home, or anything else, Myland is the place to call. 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Or online, it's myland.com. Spelled it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS and Georgia Mortgage License C148769. Myland's located at 8995 Westside Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. Myland is an equal housing lender.
Discrimination against him or her based on how the district is drawn. Now, a judicial
We're listening live to oral arguments at the Supreme Court right now. Chief Justice John Roberts hearing from the Solicitor General. My eyes are no good. D. John Sauer. Let's listen for a second, Longo.
Situation. That would be what you might call an indivisible remedy, where what the court is doing there by, for example, redrawing the district lines is, as this court said in Gill against Whitford, the only way to remediate
Gill
the
against
injury
Whitford, obviously. Yes, I knew that would come
district.
up. Anyway, they're hearing arguments on the birthright citizenship issue, but not really. It centers around the birthright citizenship case, but it's more about the power that lower courts have to issue nationwide injunction against executive orders from President Trump. That's basically what the arguments are about today. We shall monitor them for you. And at 11:37, Thane Rosenbaum is going to join us, CBS News legal analyst. So he's going to really unpack what's been going on during the Supreme Court. Again, hearing oral arguments right now on birthright citizenship. If you missed it before the break, your 5K day bonus blitz keyword for the 10 a.m. hour is bacon, B-A-C-O-N, bacon. Enter that into the WSB Radio app or WSBradio.com/cash for a chance to win $1,000. Deborah, real quick, my beloved bald eaglets out in Big Bear, California. You got an update for me this morning.
Yeah, you know that we've all been kind of keeping an eye on that live cam when they had the 3 little eaglets. Well, there's 2 of them left and are about 2.5 months old, and they will be taking flight very soon. Their names are Sunny and Gizmo, and they're about 3 feet tall now, and they have a wingspan of 5 feet across.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, I know, any day now, that's why everyone's tuning in again, they're going to be able to leap from their nest and actually take flight. But they won't leave home right away. Mom and Dad still have to
Sure.
teach them how to get food.
Yeah, they don't want to be empty nesters. Get it? Empty nesters. I'm so amazed by that. If you haven't seen it, Google it. How did they get the camera in that nest? Because they're like at the top of a tree. You had to be
Drones?
MacGyver to figure that out. Anyway, it was great. All right, thank you for the update there, Deborah. All right, bacon. That's your keyword, BACON, bacon. Enter it now. You got a couple minutes on the WSB Radio app or WSBRadio.com/cash. When we come back, going to continue to monitor the Supreme Court, and we're going to go to the White House. President Trump's Mideast journey continues. Jeff Zeleny actually traveling with the president. We'll hear from him. Social medias are active throughout the broadcast at Mark Airman at WSB Radio.
Hey, Shelley Winter here for my good friends at PalmettoSleep.com. Let's talk about a serious business, sleep apnea. I suffer from it, and whether you've been diagnosed with it or afraid you have it, I have the solution. Palmetto Sleep is here to give you your life back. They make it easy to get help for sleep apnea because living without a good night's sleep is simply no way to live. Palmetto Sleep offers a custom-fitted oral appliance that opens your airway so you naturally breathe the way nature intended. The best part is they offer virtual consultations and in-home sleep testing. No overnight stays at a sleep center. Plus, Palmetto Sleep has all the doctors that you will need. Most appointments are virtual, and it's all covered by your private medical insurance. Don't suffer from another sleepless night or daytime fatigue like I do. Visit PalmettoSleep.com now. Visit PalmettoSleep.com. That's PalmettoSleep.com.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are two very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Is painting the house on your project list? Make this the last time you paint with Rhino Shield, backed by a 25-year warranty.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Dave Baker here. If the temperature inside your house doesn't fit with the temperature outside your house, you need to call Coolray Heating and Cooling. In May, you can get your HVAC system tuned up for only $79, or you can get up to $2,250 in rebates with the purchase of a complete Carrier comfort system, plus get free attic insulation. For comfort that lasts all year, visit Coolray.com to schedule your appointment today. Coolray and Carrier. Turn to the experts.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's news and talk.
It is 10:30. Good morning. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by your Metro Atlanta AMCO dealers. A police officer is injured while working in a construction zone on I-20 eastbound near Wesley Chapel Road. The officer was in his patrol vehicle when it was hit by a passing motorist. DeKalb Police spokesman Blaine Clark says the officer was taken to the hospital.
Investigators also arrested the driver suspected of hitting the officer's car. That driver faces a DUI charge.
Now, the injured officer is from Greensboro and was working a part-time job protecting workers in the construction zone. Your weather for today, partly cloudy, drying out, but heating up this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. We're headed for an afternoon high of 87. Happening now, repairs are underway after a big sinkhole opened up on a busy roadway in downtown Atlanta. 3 lanes are closed on Shirley Franklin Boulevard. That's not far from the state capitol between Rawson Street and Memorial Drive. The Atlanta Department of Watershed Management Management is trying to assess the infrastructure that has caused the damage. No word on when the repairs will be done and that road back open. The Supreme Court right now hearing an argument about whether federal district court judges can impose sweeping injunctions that apply nationwide. In this case, 3 separate judges have issued nationwide injunctions blocking President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. We will be watching. Well, we were buying things last month. Jim Ryan has a look at retail sales numbers just released this morning.
The numbers have seesawed this year as President Trump has first promised and then backed away from steep tariffs on imports. Consumers went on a buying spree in March to beat the expected price increases and apparently bought all they wanted to then. Retail sales in April were up only 0.1% month to month.
And what about jobs to pay for all that stuff we were buying? Georgia's unemployment rate holding steady. The state labor department says Georgia's April unemployment rate is at 3.6%. That is 0.6 lower than the national unemployment rate. The accommodation and food services sector saw the most job growth last month. The biggest job losses came in information services. And Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell this morning warning of the possibility of more persistent supply shocks as U.S. central bankers met for talks against a backdrop of uncertainty, which was kicked up by President Trump's tariff rollout. Jerome Powell saying that the uncertainty could mean volatility for the economy and interest rates.
Longer-term interest rates are a good deal higher now, driven largely by real rates, given the stability of longer-term inflation expectations.
And a new report this morning from the National Association of Realtors says America's housing affordability gap is still there. For those looking to buy a home, the prices are high. The report says households earning $75,000 a year can only afford 21% of home listings. The average sales price of a home here in Metro Atlanta right now around $490,000. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is down 166 at 41,884. NASDAQ also in the red, and so is the S&P. It's time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Smiling Mark McKay joining us now. He has a look at our roads.
And a slow zone out of Morrow, rolling towards Stockbridge, Sabrina. This is I-75 southbound on the brakes, leaving Highway 138. Tight fit through the I-675 interchange. Get past Eagles Landing, Hudson Bridge exit 224. You will work your way south through Henry County. North on the connector, 7585 northbound, stacked up from University Avenue, exit 244, clearing the I-20 interchange. Trying to shake out the slow traffic in northeast Atlanta. 85 still slow, leaving Georgia 400 down to 17th Street Atlantic Station, and always slow in the work zone in DeKalb County. We're seeing it today with construction up and running both on the shoulder, not necessarily in any travel lanes, but certainly seeing the slowdown east and west on I-20 in DeKalb at Panola Road, exit 71. Smiling Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upwards. A mix of sun and clouds today, heating up to a high of 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Rain showers and a few thunderstorms for Saturday morning, cloudy through the afternoon, high 85.
Here in Midtown Atlanta, we have cloudy skies, 73 degrees right now. It's 73 in Woodstock and Johns Creek. We'll have more news at 11 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Friday, starting at 5 a.m. on Atlanta's Morning News, our exclusive stormy 5-day forecast will help you navigate a partly wet weekend ahead, and how Clark Howard says you can tariff-proof your life on WSB.
Rather than decide that Congress, for example, could never endow this court with that authority.
We are monitoring oral arguments at the Supreme Court around birthright citizenship. When we come back, we'll update that and the president's Mideast trip 2 minutes away on The Mark Arum Show.
When everyone in the family wants something different from this year's vacation, there's only one thing to do. Plan for Pigeon Forge. From gorgeous mountain views, shows, and shopping for leisure lovers, to coasters, a 200-foot swing, and hundreds more rides for adventure seekers. Plus Dollywood's epic array of fun. There's plenty of variety for the whole family, all in one place. Unique experiences, quality time, and memories for years to come. Find your personal favorites. Plan your getaway at mypigeonforge.com.
Is your heating and cooling system so old you can't remember when it was installed? If so, it's time to get protection from Reliable Heating and Air. Hey friends, it's Mark Arum. Check this out. Let Reliable Heating and Air protect your AC from breakdowns and your budget. Just $14.99 a month. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. No deductibles, no claims or paperwork, no service fees, just coverage for your aging AC and heating systems. Get all the information you need online at ReliableAir.com.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Hey, it's Shelley Winter. Car prices are expected to rise this summer. Do you wait or buy now? At Butler Lexus South Atlanta, there's no guesswork, just peace of mind. All in-stock Lexus vehicles are price locked, guaranteed not to go up. Visit Butler Lexus of South Atlanta or call 800-NEW-LEXUS. Experience the standard of amazing.
10:37 on this wonderful Thursday in Atlanta. Welcome back to the Mark Arum Show. Coming up after the new news, I'll give you another chance to win $1,000 in the 5K Day Bonus Blitz. 1 hour from now, Deborah's got some more tickets to give away to see country legend Keith Urban. Speaking of country legends, a new list came out, the richest country music singers. And there's a couple with Georgia ties, so I'm going to have fun with that list in just a little bit. Let's go back to the Supreme Court. This is D. John Sauer, the U.S. Solicitor General, and Justice Elena Kagan.
Against Poe. What the court should be engaging here is a balancing of the equitable factors as to the scope of remedial relief, not as to the underlying merits. And our contention that this exceeds the traditional scope of equity that's reflected in the 1789 Judiciary Act, we're overwhelmingly likely to succeed on those merits for all the reasons that I've stated in our briefs.
I mean, that's a lot of words, and I don't have an answer for if one thinks. And, you know, look, there are all kinds of abuses.
All right, we're going to continue. Again, they're hearing arguments on, quote, birthright citizenship, but not really. So at the top of the show, we got a preview from White House correspondent John Decker, who is going to be who is at the Supreme Court right now. So I want to replay that because John breaks it down much better than I can. First question I asked John is, what's the timeline today on when the Supreme Court oral arguments begin?
Well, the Supreme Court will hear oral arguments starting at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll be in the Supreme Court for those oral arguments. And let me just give some background. The president, his very first day of his second term, signed an executive order essentially doing away, ending birthright citizenship. That was challenged in the federal courts, and 3 separate federal judges in 3 different districts have issued nationwide injunctions preventing that executive order from going into effect. And that's the issue actually before the Supreme Court today. The actions by those federal judges, were they proper to issue nationwide injunctions instead of injunctions that just impact the parties that brought the case in the first place? So that's the first issue before the Supreme Court today. I think down the road they're going to take up this issue regarding the constitutionality of the president's executive order. There are many legal scholars, Mark, that will tell you that the right to birthright citizenship is enshrined in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is this hearing today just about the 14th Amendment, or is it mostly about what the lower court judges have done thus far?
It's mostly about what the lower court judges have done thus far. And, you know, there are presidents, not just Republican presidents. In fact, Barack Obama complained about this awesome power that federal district court judges have. Joe Biden complained about it as well. And now, of course, President Donald Trump has complained about it, and his administration has complained about it. The Supreme Court, for the justices that will hear this case, they have often raised some concerns about the powers of lower court judges in issuing these nationwide temporary restraining orders or injunctions. And that's what we're going to hear oral arguments focus on during the course of this morning.
Correspondent John Decker joining us on the Mark Arum Show. This case got to the Supreme Court pretty rapidly, but I don't think we're going to hear a rapid decision, right? We're not going to get a final word today from the Supreme Court.
Well, here we are. We're in mid-May. We are likely to get a decision from the Supreme Court by the end of June. So a month and a half from now is when we'll know how the Supreme Court will rule on this particular older matter before the Supreme Court.
So if we don't get a decision till June, what's the status quo now when it comes to birthright citizenship?
The status quo is that the president's executive order is on hold because of that nationwide injunction. And for that reason, if indeed, let's say a graduate student here in America from Germany gave birth to a child in an American hospital, that child, based upon the status quo, would have American citizenship. That's what birthright citizenship is all about. And we'll see whether that policy that's enshrined in the Constitution holds after the Supreme Court ultimately rules on this case. Again, that will not be at the end of June. That will be when this issue comes up specifically before the Supreme Court regarding the president's executive order action that he took his first day in office.
Gotcha. Great clarification there. Again, oral arguments, 10 a.m. Correspondent John Decker will be there. John, as always, appreciate your time.
Thanks again, Mark. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
So that was a replay of the interview we played at the top of the show. So again, the issue is birthright citizenship, but that's not what the Supreme Court is hearing arguments about. It's about the power of the lower courts. I don't know which way they are going to go on this. I think eventually when birthright citizenship, the actual 14th Amendment issues, reaches the Supreme Court, I think they're going to uphold the 14th Amendment. But I don't know either way what the Supreme Court's going to do now when it comes to the power of the lower courts offering these nationwide stays. Let's listen in briefly. D. John Sauer, U.S. Solicitor General, and Justice Elena Kagan.
Order was issued is not one of those tools.
Thank you, counsel. 3 years, 4
Watching
years.
our special
All right, that's sorry, Wolf. Going to cut you off there. But don't worry. I don't know enough about this, but legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum does. He's going to join us live at 11:37. All right, a couple of big international stories. Will the president go to Turkey to meet with Ukrainian and Russian leaders to try to get a ceasefire deal there? The president, obviously, in the Mideast tour. With the president is CNN's Jeff Zeleny this morning after President Trump had a rally at a U.S. military base.
Style event by the commander-in-chief here at the largest air base in the Middle East. The president just wrapped his speech here a short time ago, and it felt very much like the campaign rallies that we have become very familiar with in the United States. It rings a little bit differently here. The YMCA Village people, the Lee Greenwood, God Bless America, who's actually on hand to perform his anthem live here. But as entertainer Theo Von warmed up the crowd, the troops listened with enthusiasm as the president delivered a message that he is rebuilding the military. He also said he supports his policy of peace through strength.
As president, my priority is to end conflicts, not start them, but I will never hesitate to wield American power if it's necessary to defend the United States of America or our partners. And this is one of our great partners right here.
And wielding American power, that really is the challenge facing President Trump as he heads onto the final leg of his first overseas trip as president. Of course, so many geopolitical challenges are in the balance here. First and foremost, the unresolved conflict in Gaza. President Trump not going to Israel, but this conflict very much on the minds. More bloodshed last evening, but the president did talk about that so-called freedom zone, if you will. He has talked about that previously, about developing Gaza. He has not focused on it as much on this trip, but certainly that is a far-flung, controversial view in many eyes, and also so long away because the peace talks simply have not reached a fruition. Speaking of peace talks, the president has teased throughout the week that he may play a personal role in trying to mediate the Ukraine-Russian peace talks in Turkey. White House officials dampening that, saying the president will not be going there. Vladimir Putin, of course, also not on hand for these peace talks. So very much an open question how much progress can be made there. All the while, the president also extending a hand to Iran, even as he is trying to urge them to continue nuclear discussions with the U.S., and offering a threat as well. He said that they will never have a nuclear weapon. So even in this trip is filled with a lot of economic deals being discussed, some diplomacy as well as the president heads into his final leg of his trip. in Abu Dhabi.
Jeff Zeleny with the president this morning. Pretty cool that he was able to see the troops at the largest air base, the U.S. air base in the Mideast. The question is the trip going to be extended? Will the president go to Turkey and get hands-on, roll up his sleeves in the Russia-Ukraine talks? We'll certainly monitor that. Speaking of Russia, Deborah, holy smokes. This story, I thought it was from The Onion when you first said it to me. Apparently, Russia and China are trying to develop a power station on the moon. What?
Yeah.
Is this a real story?
I think it's real from the couple stories that I found it at here. Russia and China are teaming up to build a nuclear power station on the moon. It's going to be called the International Lunar Research Station, and it should be done by 2036. And this is kind of cool. They're going to try to build it without any humans. So all computers, robots, everything are actually going to build it. But it's going to host a command center, a communications hub, scientific facilities, a power station. I mean, and there's a whole bunch of other countries that have agreed to use it, Egypt, Venezuela. Now they're saying it's going to be to collect samples and research, but NASA's looking at it like, something else is going on. But Russia and China are the ones backing it.
Well, what's the end game, though? That's what I understand. Like, all right, you want to build something on the moon, but a nuclear power station? Like, what are you going to power on the moon? Are they planning on colonizing the moon? Oof. I don't know. Russia and China getting together makes me nervous. Mm-hmm. And you've seen those. What was that one movie where the moon breaks apart and it's not good for anybody? Like, I'm envisioning something like that, like a nuclear accident on the moon, and it cracks, and we were dodging moon debris. And say goodbye to Day Moon, my favorite moon.
Oh, yeah, your favorite.
We had a nice Day Moon on. I think it was on Tuesday driving in. This big, the moon and the day, you know. It's remarkable. Sometimes you see the moon during the day. Day moon. I love day moon. All right. Please keep me posted on that story, Deborah. Jeez Louise. Did get it up before I checked traffic. Did get an update from Smiling Mark McKay from his sources at Peachtree DeKalb Airport. Apparently, Peachtree DeKalb has hangar and tie-down fees. So if you have a private aircraft and you want to go have lunch at the 57th Fighter Group, might I recommend the brunch on the weekends? It's very good. They do charge you for hangar fees and tie-down fees. That, according to sources to WSB's own Smiling Mark McKay, who will now update your Thursday morning drive. Already secured star of the show, by the way, Smiling. Good job.
I appreciate it, Mark. Thank you. I-75 southbound stacking up through Stockbridge. A lot of folks heading south into the heart of Henry County, but I got to deal with that brake light battle leaving Highway 138, trying to get down to Hudson Bridge Road, exit 224. The northbound ride toward the city is fine. If you're rolling out of the western suburbs, you've got some right lane delays on I-20 eastbound past Six Flags into the busy 285 interchange. Same story if you're working up the I-285 east side, leaving Flat Shoals exit 48 into I-20 into that perpetual work zone where I-20 meets 285 in DeKalb County. Smiling Mark McKay, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
online,
on the app,
where you get your news
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That is awesome.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
This is Jill from Roswell, and I just won $1,000.
Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 12.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz
on 95.5 WSB.
Home's your happy place, but not when critters bust in, and it happened to me. Mark Aram here for Breda Pest Management. My wife and I were shocked to see 2 beady little eyes in the basement. So gross. Breda kicked those critters out, and we're still protected with their wildlife guarantee, even if they chew a new entry point. No one else covers that. Breda, they handle bugs and critters. BREDA Pest.com.
Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Attention seniors, do you want more personalized healthcare with more one-on-one time with your doctor? Then join us at the grand opening of CenterWell Marietta. CenterWell offers senior-focused primary care that's centered on you. Celebrate with us Tuesday, May 20th, near the Walmart off Highway 41 here in Marietta from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Enjoy food, music, and more at this free community event. Plus, tour the new doctor's office and meet the care team. For details, visit CometoCenterwellGeorgia.com. That's CometoCenterwellGeorgia.com.
All those flowers you planted up the driveway this spring look great, but your garage door? Yikes!
Hi, I'm Dan Watkins, owner of All Four Seasons Garage and Entry Doors. This spring, replace that old, ugly garage door with a beautiful, modern, energy-efficient door that will add to your home's value and curb appeal. At All Four Seasons, we offer fast service, affordable prices, and a huge selection of styles, colors, and custom features. When trust matters, trust us. All, the number 4, seasonsgarages.com.
Dave Baker here. I know you have big plans for the summer. Did you include plumbing and electrical problems? No? Well, let's keep it that way. Here's a couple of things you can do to avoid nasty summer issues from my friends at Brightbox Electrical and Mr. Plumber, both from the Coolray family of companies. For starters, Mr. Plumber's currently offering a $99 water heater flush. Flushing your water heater is like getting an oil change for your car. It gets rid of buildup and will extend the life of your water heater, and $99 is a great price. Or maybe summer storms have you nervous about losing power to your home and all your important electronics like entertainment systems, your refrigerator, your heating and air, or your medical devices. Brightbox Electrical is currently offering $500 off a Generac home standby generator. You can keep the juice flowing in your home no matter the season or the reason. Go to Coolray.com and schedule your appointment today.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, fresh Heritage Farm bone-in chicken drumsticks or thighs are on sale. Just $1.49 a pound with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Asked a great question by a listener the other day, talking about my friends at Advanced Hair. It's Mark Aram here. The listener said, hey, what makes Advanced Hair different from all the other places that promise to get my hair back? Well, they combine science and technology to give you back your own natural growing hair. Not a pill, not a lotion. Instead, Advanced Hair offers the proven, guaranteed solution that regrows your hair where it's currently gone. The pills and the lotions, they just help you keep what you have. Advanced Hair regrows your hair where it's gone. And the best part, it's a quick, simple one-day treatment. Your real hair begins to regrow the very next day, and it's even guaranteed to grow for life. You want your hair back? Now's the time. Advanced Hair is the place. Schedule that consultation now. It's free. 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com. And if you move forward, you get $250 off plus 250 free grafts. Life-changing results. Advancedhair.com. Happy 13th birthday to Vintage Barbershop, Sandy Springs. Mazel tov, you're 13 years in business. I wonder if Yuri's going to have a bar mitzvah for Vintage Barbershops. Vintage Barbershops, the official barber of Longoria, does the hair, the beard. You look fantastic. I don't go as frequently as I did when I was on television.
Yeah.
I have less need because I wear a hat all the time. But Yuri's the man. Happy 13th birthday. Vintage Barbershop in Sandy Springs. They keep Longoria looking stoic and handsome as ever.
I'll be in there in a couple weeks.
There you go. Maybe you can time it. You can see Longoria and get. Will you sign 13th birthday autographs the next time?
Me,
yeah, absolutely. Sure. I do want to update a story. Retail sales numbers. U.S. consumers spent slightly more at retail stores last month after ramping up their shopping in March to get ahead of tariffs. Government data showed Thursday that sales at retail stores and restaurants rose 0.1% in April from March. Sharp slowdown from the 1.7% gain the previous month. CBS News consumer and technology producer Emily Pandice explains what this could foreshadow for the next announcement from the Federal Reserve.
We know that Fed Chair Jay Powell is a data guy. We have been seeing this negative consumer sentiment for the past couple of months, and every time we get to that press conference with him, he says that he's waiting to see it in the data. And what we've seen from this month, from retail sales and from the producer price index, the PPI numbers that were out this morning, we see that the economy on paper is still doing really well.
Yeah, so the economy's doing well. What's the Fed going to do? Obviously, President Trump not seeing eye to eye with the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. But I believe most experts still predict that we're going to see 2 cuts in interest rates before the end of the year, which would be good news for folks that have credit cards or mortgages, et cetera. But so the economy's still doing well, but after a big bump in March as we were trying to get out ahead of the tariffs, consumer spending trickled down a little bit, but still overall good news. Good news if you want to lose weight while you continue to eat. Imagine eating cookies to lose weight.
Italian researchers have developed a cookie that seems to act like Ozempic. They extracted a compound from the wormwood plant, which seems to trigger the gut in a similar way to weight loss injections. They then mixed that with dark chocolate, which has similar properties, to make cookies. Volunteers said they felt full, and blood tests showed an increase in the hormone levels associated with fullness. A full clinical trial is now planned, and a possible commercial release of the cookies. Vicky Barker, CBS News, London.
So not Ozempic cookies, Deborah, but these cookies act like Ozempic. Wormwood plant. I should, Ashley, if you're listening, host of Green and Growing, can we grow wormwood plants in our backyard and make cookies to act like Ozempic? Here's breaking news for everybody. You want to feel full? This is I don't do it because obviously you can see on the WSB live stream I'm not thin. But if you want to lose weight, you want to mimic what the cookies do. The test participants said the cookies made them feel full, so they ate less. Pour yourself a tall glass of water before every meal. Chug that glass of water. You will get fuller faster. You'll lose weight. That's it. I mean, you can do other stuff like working out and eating healthy, but you want to lose weight? That's it. Like a monstrous glass of water before every meal. Just chug it. Your belly's going to be full. And you won't eat as much. That's it. I don't want to step on Dr. Joe's toes, but that's my my advice to losing weight. Just chug a big glass of water before every meal. You'll feel fuller. All right, Sabrina's got your news, weather, and traffic. When we come back, more on the Supreme Court, more on our top local stories, and the latest on the possible ceasefire talks between Russia and Ukraine going on now in Turkey. All that next on The Mark Arum Show.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
This is Jonathan Geller at D. Geller & Son Jewelers, where we know gifting isn't just about the latest styles and best quality, it's also about the best prices to make your occasions memorable without breaking the bank. Diamond studs are the perfect gift. They start at just $275 and have 100% upgrade value for life. We have a great selection of diamond and sterling silver jewelry with necklaces as low as $110. So don't compromise on your big occasions. Stay in your budget with something they'll cherish. From D. Geller & Son in Kennesaw, Sandy Springs, and online at dgeller.com.
Cancer upends your life. We're doing all we can to change that. At Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University, we're reimagining the care experience to ease the burden of cancer with experts in your cancer and the research, trials, and treatments you can only get here. All so you can focus on what matters most, the best chance of living a full life. Winship Cancer Institute of Emory University. Cancer care designed around you and your life. EmoryHealthcare.org/Winship.
Asked a great question by a listener the other day talking about my friends at Advanced Hair. It's Mark Arum here. The listener said, hey, what makes Advanced Hair different from all the other places that promise to get my hair back? Well, they combine science and technology to give you back your own natural growing hair. Not a pill, not a lotion. Instead, Advanced Hair offers the proven, guaranteed solution that regrows your hair where it's currently gone. The pills and the lotions, they just help you keep what you have. Advanced Hair regrows your hair where it's gone. And the best part, it's a quick, simple one-day treatment. Your real hair begins to regrow the very next day, and it's even guaranteed to grow for life. You want your hair back? Now's the time. Advanced Hair is the place. Schedule that consultation now. It's free. 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com. And if you move forward, you get $250 off plus 250 free grafts. Life-changing results, advancedhair.com.
news, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 11 o'clock. Good morning. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by the Next Generation Xfinity 10G Network. This just in, an Auburn, Georgia man sentenced to life plus 90 years and the sexual assault of a woman in Gwinnett County back in 2022. 53-year-old Christopher Raymond Clamp found guilty of sexually assaulting a woman after forcing his way into her home, beating her and holding her against her will for 2 days. It took the jury just 35 minutes to find Clamp guilty. He will now spend the rest of his life behind bars. Your weather for today, partly cloudy and drying out, but it's going to also be heating up, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards, headed for an afternoon high of 87. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. A police officer's in the hospital this morning after being hit by a motorist on I-20 East near Wesley Chapel Road. Blaine Clark with DeKalb Police saying the officer was working in a construction zone when he was hit while in his vehicle.
Investigators also arrested the driver suspected of hitting the officer's car. That driver faces a DUI charge.
Now, the injured officer is from Greensboro. His name has not yet been released. Flags are lowered to half staff at state buildings in honor of police officers killed in the line of duty on this Peace Officers Memorial Day. The observance is part of National Police Week. 7 Metro Atlanta officers killed in the line of duty over the past year were honored at a candlelight vigil in Washington, D.C. this week. They do include South Fulton Police Captain Helio Garcia. He was killed in a crash last month. The Supreme Court is hearing arguments related to President Trump's order to end birthright citizenship. Lawrence Hurley explaining the case for us.
And the legal argument is that judges don't have the authority to block these orders nationwide. What they're saying is that judges only have authority to issue rulings that affect the parties that are in the case in front of them.
Now, the case before the High Court is not directly about the constitutionality of the order, but the scope with which lower courts can issue nationwide injunctions. Mr. Trump's order to end birthright citizenship, generally accepted as the law under the Constitution's 14th Amendment, drew immediate lawsuits, and 3 lower courts have issued injunctions. Now, it is up to the nation's highest court to decide if the lower courts really have that kind of authority or not. Publix issuing a voluntary baby food recall today. It affects certain 4-ounce pouches of the retailer's Greenwise pear, kiwi, spinach, and pea baby food. Publix says that the pouches have the potential to be contaminated with elevated lead levels. The impacted products have a best if used by date of November 1st of this year, and they were sold in several states, including here in Georgia. The baby food can be returned to Publix stores for a refund. And Georgia now has an official state bread and stew. That's right. Governor Kemp has signed a bill that names cornbread as Georgia's official state bread, and Brunswick stew is the official stew of the state of Georgia. Let's take a look at the markets. The Dow right now is down 73 at 41,977. NASDAQ is also down more than 0.5%, and the S&P is also in the red. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Let's get a look at your roads. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, good morning, Sabrina. Right now, we're watching some volume downtown, 75-85 northbound as you leave University Avenue for the ride up past Freedom Parkway. Some brake lights on the West Freeway, 20 eastbound from Riverside Parkway over to that east or west side perimeter of I-285, and still seeing some brake lights on the south side, thinning out a tad bit, but a sluggish through Stockbridge, 75 south from Highway 138 down to Hudson Bridge Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. Partly cloudy today, high 87. That's trending about 6 degrees above average for this afternoon. Lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Watching for heavy rain and thunderstorms early Saturday morning. Cloudy in the afternoon, high 85.
It is 74 degrees in Sandy Springs. East Point has 75, and it's 75 in Powder Springs. We'll have more news at 11:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
I run this town to be near you.
11:04 on a really pleasant Thursday in Metro Atlanta. Welcome back. Mark Aram and crew with you till noon. 1 hour from right now, I'm going to give you another keyword in the 5K a day bonus blitz. Another chance for you to win $1,000 here on 95.5 WSB. 30 minutes from now, Deborah's going to give away tickets to see Keith Urban. Remind me, Deborah, I don't want to not talk about the richest country music stars currently living, because there's some Georgia ties there. So make sure I don't end the show without getting to that list. We are going to be going to Legoland State and Rosenbaum at 11:35. updating what's going on with oral arguments at the Supreme Court right now surrounding the birthright citizenship. Let's go back to the court for a second, Longo. Amy Coney Barrett now talking to the U.S. Solicitor General.
Try and get that circuit precedent overruled and so forth.
Well, okay, so I'm not talking about a situation in which, the Second Circuit has a case from 1955 and you think it's time for it to be challenged. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about in this kind of situation. I'm talking about this week, the Second Circuit holds that the executive order is unconstitutional, and then what do you do the next day or the next week?
So sometimes you can get an idea during these oral arguments which way the court's leading. Obviously, I can't listen to the whole thing because I'm on the air right now, but legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum is monitoring it. Correspondent John Decker is at the Supreme Court. So they're going to have a general sense after these oral arguments which way the Supreme Court's leaning, whether they're going to side with the Trump administration, who claims that the lower courts do not have this broad power to negate executive orders nationwide, or what the petitioners say is that, yes, They do have the power. If this is unconstitutional, the lower courts do have it. So that's the central theme here. Again, Thane Rosenbaum is going to join us at 11:35. More chaos uncovered at the FAA. This is a story that is not going away anytime soon. Obviously what's going on with Newark, the shortage of folks that man the towers at airports. A senior FAA official told senators today that the direct hotline between the Pentagon and air traffic controllers at Reagan National Airport hasn't been working in 3 years. Let that sink in. So the Pentagon in D.C., Reagan International Airport in D.C., there's a hotline between the two of them, right? If blank hits the fan, Pentagon needs to talk to the airport and say, hey, we need total ground stop. We need, whatever. Air Force One's coming in. The hotline hasn't worked in 3 years. CBS News senior transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve has more.
The Secretary will be talking to senators today, Thursday, as well as the FAA will be answering questions. In a fairly stunning acknowledgement on the part of the FAA yesterday, senior FAA officials acknowledged that a direct hotline between the Washington Reagan National Airport Air Traffic Control Tower and controllers at the Pentagon hasn't worked since 2022.
Goodness gracious. Trump administration has to set up a whistleblower line, because if we're just finding out about this, what else don't we know? If I was advising the president, I'd be like, set up a whistleblower line. And anyone that is an air traffic controller or is in the system or works for the FAA, I don't think this is a one-off. I don't think we really understand how degraded the system is and what's at stake. That I would set that whistleblower lineup right now. Let's get it all out. Transportation Secretary Duffy of MTV fame, get in there, get your hands dirty, and let's figure out what needs to be fixed and do it with haste. 3 years, the hotline between the Pentagon and Reagan Airport not working. That's not safe for anybody. Can you imagine this emergency? All right, President Trump's, in his Mideast tour right now, coming back on Air Force One. There's some sort of emergency, and Pete Hegseth picks up the hotline at the Pentagon to call Reagan National. Clear every runway. The president's coming in hot. The hotline hasn't worked in 3 years. Jeez Louise. Updating the Israel-Hamas war as President Trump continues to visit the Gulf states. Israeli airstrikes killed more than 100 people in Gaza. CBS News reporter Linda Gradstein has the story from Jerusalem.
The Gaza Health Ministry, which is affiliated with Hamas, said that the European hospital in Gaza is out of commission after one of the Israeli airstrikes, leaving cancer patients with no treatment. The Israeli airstrikes come as President Trump said the U.S. should take Gaza and make it a freedom zone. Israel has begun calling up tens of thousands of reservists for a possible renewed large operation in Gaza.
That's one of the things, that freedom zone. President Trump made comments today about what he wants to have happen to Gaza, wants some sort of U.S. involvement, and wants it to become, quote, a freedom zone. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but that's what President Trump said to reporters today, that he wants Gaza to become a freedom zone. So we get more information on that. We'll bring it to you. Big local story here. Real estate market has been up and down, not just nationally, but here in the state of Georgia. Some startling new numbers, Deborah, on who owns all of these rental homes in the state of Georgia. All these home sales. We had that huge kick of home sales a couple years ago, right? You couldn't find a home, and when Maya and I were home shopping, home hunting. What's the term there?
House hunting.
House hunting. Thank you, Deborah. Every time we went to an open house, we'd walk in and the real estate agent's like, we've already had 7 offers in cash over the asking price. And it was deflating. And apparently it was a certain type of investor that has been scooping up all these single family homes in Georgia, Deborah. What are the numbers and who's buying all these homes, or who bought all these homes?
Yeah, if it seems like it's harder and harder to buy a house in Atlanta, it is. It's because about 30% of all single-family homes are owned by out-of-state companies or investors, and that's 10 times the national average. Now, Senator Ossoff has launched an investigation to see how this affects the people that actually live in Georgia, because it kind of pushes Georgians out of being able to own an affordable home here in the metro.
So, and it's not like personal real estate investors like Clark Howard, right? This isn't Clark Howard owns a home, rents it out to the Longoria family. They raised, their kids and the dog. They got a fence. It's not that. It's these big conglomerates that came into the metro area when Maya and I were house hunting and were scooping up and they bought them as investments.
Yeah.
And they're not renting them out. They're just sitting on them, these vacant homes, just hoping that they appreciate and earn money for their investors, right?
Yeah, and Georgia has it doesn't seem like this because you and I have bought houses in the last 5 years or so, but Georgia actually has a much more affordable market than a lot of other places. So for them to come in and buy like 5 houses is nothing.
Sure, because they're, billion-dollar hedge funds or whatever. They come in, buy all these properties, and that's why you can't find housing, because they're not looking to buy these and flip them and make a profit. They're looking to buy them and hold them long-term as an investment. In the meantime, they don't want the hassle of having to rent out a house and collect rent and all that stuff. They should hire Renters Warehouse, obviously. They'll handle all that for you. But that's why it's so tough to find new homes, is because, 30%, Deborah?
30%, yeah.
Dang. So 3 in 10 of single-family homes are owned by one of those behemoth corporations that have no intention whatsoever of selling them to people like Deborah or me or Vinny or Longoria. Vinny, do you have a timeline? I'm so curious about the younger generation. Gen Z, right? You consider yourself a Gen Zer? Do you have any ambition to own a home?
Definitely.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, my dad, he had his first home at 22.
Wow.
So I wish I was with him.
So you're already behind the times.
Yeah.
But you don't, because I know a lot of Gen Zers have no desire to own a home. They want to free ball it and just, rent place to place and move. But you do want to.
I want to own.
You want to settle down on a home?
Absolutely.
Do you have a goal set in mind?
I was trying to do 26 because that's when I'm off my parents' stuff.
Is that when they're kicking you out at 26?
That's the insurance.
I know, but
well, they're not going to kick me out, though.
We got to get you insurance here at the station.
Oh, yeah.
Or get Erickson to hire you, and we'll get you the...
Yeah, get the Kobe insurance.
Yeah. Was it 1-800-BIBLE?
1-800-OMAHA?
Whatever it is. Yeah. Sorry, but all right, that makes me feel better. The Vinny, when I was your age, I didn't have how old was I when I bought my first home? I bought it in 2004. So I was 30 years old. So use that as your guide. Use me as your guidepost to be when you're 30 years old to have your first home. It doesn't have to be a house. It could be buy an apartment or something, or
that work.
Yeah, settle down. Your dad got his first home at 22. Good for him.
I don't know if he bought it. He might have rented.
Oh, figure it out.
But he had a home. It was a home.
He wasn't living with his parents at 26. He wasn't living with his parents at 20. I'm just kidding, Vinny. That's good. Good for you, Vinny. Whatever we can do to help you on your path to home ownership, we'll get you there, my friend. Vinny, stalwart member of the Mark Arum Show. All right, let's do that list of the because if I don't do it now, Deborah, I'm going to forget the richest country music stars in the world. I don't even know if I sent you this story.
No, you did.
I did not send it to you?
No,
All right.
no.
All right, so let me pull it up. top 10. Well, you're the music correspondent, Deborah, so I'm going to
Okay.
quiz you on this.
All right.
Who do you think is the richest country singer ever?
Just for longevity, and I know how beloved this person is, I'm going to say Dolly Parton. That would be my guess.
You are correct.
Okay, good.
Dolly
Thank
Parton.
goodness.
Net worth. Good for Dolly. Who doesn't love $675 million. She tops the list of the 10 highest paid country music stars. She deserves every cent of that.
Probably Dollywood, too, getting all that
Oh,
Dollywood
yeah.
money.
When Longoria goes up there.
all
Doesn't
the
she
time.
own Wolf Mountain Lodge, too, or whatever?
No, that's a different place.
But that's where
She's
you
got
go, right?
makeup and cookbooks and everything.
Yeah, I love Dolly. 9 to 5. You've never seen that movie. All right. So Georgians. Luke Bryan is ranked 7th on the list with a net worth of $160 million.
Wow.
The 48-year-old was born in Leesburg and graduated from Georgia Southern University in Statesboro. Alan Jackson, this surprised me.
Yeah.
He's ranked 8th with a net worth of $150 million. The 66-year-old is a Georgia native from Newnan. Alan's 80 million plus records sold come out of his 18 studio albums. So that's where he made his money, back when you'd sell albums, right? He was there. 80 million albums. Good for him. So there, all right. So it's just 2? Yeah, 2 Georgians on the list. 10th, this number 9 surprised me. 10th is Brad Paisley at 120. I thought this number would be higher. Carrie Underwood, net worth of 140 million. I thought she's bigger than that. I thought she was bigger than like a Luke Bryan or an Alan Jackson. Because she does other stuff, right? Doesn't Carrie Underwood?
And she does American Idol now?
Yeah, all that stuff. Anyway, listen, I'm not judging. That's fantastic for her. Alan Jackson, 150. Luke Bryan is 7th at 160. Kenny Chesney is 6th at 180 million. Now, this is kind of cheating. Faith Hill and Tim McGraw combined. They combined their incomes. Although I guess that's what Longoria does.
Oh, yeah. That's the only way I come up on top with Leslie. She gives me that bump.
Faith Hill and Tim McGraw combined $200 million. I thought that's lower than I thought it would be. 4th, George Strait at $300 million. 3rd, I would have guessed he was number 1. Garth Brooks at $400 million. All right, so we know Dolly Parton's number 1 at $675. Garth Brooks is number 3 at $400. Deborah, any idea who's number 2? It's a female artist.
Okay, it's either Shania Twain or Taylor Swift.
Shania Twain.
Yep.
I think they don't consider T Swizzle a country artist anymore.
She started.
She did start it.
country.
She did start.
And Shania Twain's technically not a country artist anymore.
She's phenomenal, though. She'll always have a place in my heart. Shania Twain. All right, there you go. Top 10 richest country music living. Oh, what's his name's not on there? Willie Nelson. I thought Willie.
Well, he wastes all his money on weed. So
Yeah, that's true. You would think he'd get a cannabis endorsement now that it's legal in so many places that he wouldn't have to buy it
I think
anymore.
he's selling an alcohol infused with it, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Willie Nelson. There you go. All right. Real quick, let's go back. Ketanji Brown Jackson, Supreme Court Justice, now discussing the case with the Solicitor General.
For this court to reach the underlying issue. Percolation of novel, sensitive constitutional issues is a merit of our system. It is not a bad feature of the system. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel.
All right. By the way, that's D. John Sauer, the U.S. Solicitor General. He sounds like RFK Jr. Like, give that man.
That's what I've been telling Vinny this whole time. I was like, is RFK Jr. up there?
Yeah, give that man a lozenge. All right, so we're going to monitor that again right after the news at 11:35. Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum is going to join us as pretty important case for the Trump administration, arguing that lower courts have too much power, specifically when it comes to birthright citizenship. All right, let's check some delays downtown before we get back to the news of the day. What's the latest now, Alex Williams?
Just had some trouble clear quickly out of a left lane, 7585 northbound, just north of I-20 there, across from Grady Hospital. That's why you're seeing a little extra volume leaving University Avenue. 285 and northbound, the inner loop on the west side, tapping the brakes from South Cobb Drive up through Smyrna Vinings. And construction out in Snellville, Highway 78 at Grayson Parkway. Right lane blocked right lane blocked eastbound and a left lane blocked westbound, jamming up that interchange. Traffic brought to you by Stone Mountain Park. Visit Stone Mountain Park Memorial Day weekend and see the new fire drones, plus the Music Across America Drone and Light Show and fireworks finale. Tickets at stonemountainpark.com. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
When traffic hits.
I-75 completely shut down north and south between McDonough and Locust Grove.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
Brake lights fill in on 316 westbound at Sugarloaf Parkway.
Your source for Atlanta's traffic.
Heavy police fire department activity.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
I know we just started at spring, but already Maya and I have turned on the AC in our house a couple of times. Hey, it's Mark Aaron back from my pals at Reliable Heating and Air. We are going to use our AC a lot this summer. I'm sure you will as well. Great new deal from my friends at Reliable. Check this out, folks. Get any size air conditioning, any size AC, just $69.99 a month. Zero down payment, low monthly payments, unbeatable lifetime warranty, and next day installation guaranteed, or they pay you $500. Yes, any size AC, just $69.99 a month, zero down, low monthly payments. Don't go into another sweltering summer with your old AC unit. Get a new one from my friends at Reliable. Book an appointment for a convenient time right on their website at reliableair.com and click on the Schedule Service button, or call or text 770-594-9969, 770-594-9969.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, will work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. Now, that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation. Virtual imaging's LD CT whole body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
11:23 on the Mark Arum Show. Don't forget, right after the new news, another keyword in the 5K day bonus blitz, monitoring opening oral arguments, at the Supreme Court. Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum joining us after the news at 11:30. But this story's headline took me by surprise from Bloomberg News. Threat of summer power deficit looms for millions of Americans. What? Summer power deficit? Covering the story for Bloomberg News. Joining us live on the Mark Arum Show, Josh Saul. Josh, good morning, my friend. How are you?
Hey, Mark. Thanks for having me on. Doing good.
We have so much news to cover these days. I didn't think that we would encounter a power deficit here in the United States. What can you tell us?
Well, let me start off first by saying that Georgia is looking pretty good. Atlanta's looking pretty good. Your power is projected to be reliable this summer. But across the U.S., it's kind of the same story, and this includes Georgia, and that is the power demand has increased so much, and that's data centers, which I'm sure your listeners are starting to hear about or have heard about a lot. New factories. I think in Georgia, I don't think you can throw a rock without hitting a new battery or EV or some kind of manufacturing that's cropped up. And all of that electricity demand has made it very hard for the people who run the grid to add new generation and to keep the grid reliable.
Interesting. So we're putting too much strain on our electrical grid. I just assumed it was because, hey, it's summer in Georgia. It's 100 degrees out. I'm cranking that AC down to 64. That would put the strain. But it's more of data centers and big companies that are doing it.
For sure, those high moments, those cold winter mornings and those hot summer days, those create the peak periods that make it really hard for grid operators to keep everything going. But overall, what we've seen is that for years, for decades going back, power demand growth was really small. Like imagine a chart where it's just 1% a year, 0.5% a year of growth. Just a few more people move to Georgia because it's a beautiful place to live, so there's just a little bit more energy demand than there was before. But then you add a data center that can use as much power as 700,000 homes in. That's imagine a hockey stick. The graph just goes way up.
Wow,
power demand goes way up. A factory, a new chip factory, that any county is so excited to get because it's so many new jobs. Same thing, can just use as much power as huge numbers of homes.
Story to worth we'll be monitoring throughout the hot summer months. Josh Hall from Bloomberg. Safe here in Georgia, the biggest threat from the upper Midwest to the Gulf Coast. Facing the biggest threat of power supply shortfalls. News, weather, and traffic next, and legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum on the Mark Arum Show.
I'm consumer investigator Dale Cardwell, and for over a decade, I've trusted America's best choice for windows, doors, siding, and decks.
Spring is the perfect time to update your home, and America's Best Choice makes it easy with these spring specials. Highest quality, energy-efficient windows starting at just $299. Take 10% off a new deck and create the outdoor oasis of your dreams. No pressure, no gimmicks. Visit abcwin.com today to schedule your free consultation.
At Kroger, we've lowered prices on over 1,000 items across our stores so you can save even more. Whether you're shopping in-store or online at Kroger, we've lowered prices on thousands of the items your family wants and needs. And with lower prices, your dollar goes further every time you shop with us. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Check out this fresh deal on General Mills Giant Size cereal. Select 20 to 29-ounce varieties or 3 for only $10 when you buy 3 with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Have you gotten your grilling preparations and fixins for Memorial Day? It's coming up. I've got mine from Omaha Steaks, and you should too, because during the Memorial Day sale, you get 50% off site-wide at omahasteaks.com. And listen, you're going to get an extra $35 off with promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout. Just look for the promo code box, put in my name, Eric. You'll get $35 off and already 50% off site-wide. So I loaded up on hamburgers and the gourmet jumbo franks. Of course, my wife loves the caramel apple tartlets. But go load up your cart with deliciousness. Whatever you want, 50% off site-wide at Omaha Steaks for Memorial Day. It is deliciousness delivered to your door. I've already got my order in. I did save you guys some food, so go check it out. omahasteaks.com, 50% off site-wide. The Memorial Day sale happening right now. Use promo code ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, at checkout for an extra $35 off. Minimum purchase may apply.
Market volatility isn't slowing down. If you're nearing retirement, now is not the time to wait and see. Every day of uncertainty can put your future at risk. It's time to diversify. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I want you to know you can create certainty, locking in guaranteed income for life. This means predictable, stable cash flow, even in turbulent times. You've worked too hard to leave your retirement to chance. Right now, there are options to receive up to 30% upfront or annual growth of up to 10% for retirement income. That's up to $30,000 up front or up to $10,000 per year on $100,000, all guaranteed for retirement income. Don't wait. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any examples provided are hypothetical. Annuities are issued with prospectus and sales brochures and should be reviewed carefully before funding as features and benefits vary. DBA in most states as Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Listen up, because women have long waited for the world to recognize the importance of our health.
Northside Hospital goes beyond "we hear you" to "we're out here with you," because women deserve more than open ears.
They deserve open doors, and 1 ounce of action is worth 1,000 words.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work for you.
This is a house call. Heard. Learn more at northside.com/heard.
With Orchard, you can buy your new home before selling the old one and get paid twice. Cash up front now, more cash when it sells. Get started at Orchard.com. Get paid twice. Orchard.com.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 11:30. Good morning. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news is sponsored by Rocco's European Garage. A police officer is recovering this morning after being injured while working in a construction zone on I-20 eastbound near Wesley Chapel Road. The officer was in his patrol vehicle when he was hit by a passing motorist. DeKalb Police spokesman Blaine Clark says the officer was taken to the hospital.
Investigators also arrested the driver suspected of hitting the officer's car. That driver faces a DUI charge.
Now, the injured officer is from Greensboro. His name has not been released. He was working a part-time job protecting workers in that construction zone when it happened. Your weather for today, partly cloudy, drying out, but it's heating up. Afternoon highs around 87, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just over 2 minutes. An Auburn man has been sentenced to life plus 90 years in a sexual assault of a woman in Gwinnett County back in 2022. 53-year-old Christopher Raymond Clamp found guilty of sexually assaulting a woman after forcing his way into her home, beating her, and then holding her against her will for 2 days. It took that jury only 35 minutes to find him guilty. He's now going to spend the rest of his life behind bars. President Trump says he's decided to skip Ukraine peace talks in Turkey because Russian President Vladimir Putin won't be there. The president speaking with reporters on Air Force One.
Nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay? And obviously he wasn't going to go. He was going to go, but he thought I was going to go. He wasn't going if I wasn't there.
And Trump added that they're going to have to get it solved, though, because he says too many people are dying. Dick's Sporting Goods is buying Foot Locker for $2.4 billion. Dick's saying that it will run Foot Locker as a standalone unit and keep its brands like Kids Foot Locker and Champ Sports. Footwear companies have been struggling since President Trump announced his tariffs. Most of their shoes are made in Asia. And the Labor Department numbers show the state's unemployment rate continuing to outperform the national average.
Georgia's unemployment rate holds steady at 3.6% for an 11th consecutive month. The latest figure for the month of April beats the national rate by 0.6%. Jobs rose by 3,700 over the month and increased by 16,000 over the past year. The sectors with the most job gains in the past year included healthcare and social assistance. The biggest drag in jobs came in administrative and support services. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB.
All right, so let's take a glance at the markets. The Dow right now is up 87 at 42,138. So the Dow's up slightly. NASDAQ is in negative territory and the S&P is in the green, but only slightly. Time now for live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams joining us now. How we doing on the road?
Still watching some of that volume over on the West Freeway, Sabrina. It's I-20 eastbound starting right around the theme park from Riverside Parkway as you approach that west side perimeter downtown. Still in recovery mode from the morning rush and some earlier trouble that cleared 75-85 northbound. You're on the brakes from University Avenue as you make your way north of I-20. And we got construction in Hall County, 985 southbound. Before Highway 53, one lane is blocked, so that's stacking up the ride between Gainesville and Oakwood. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. A mix of sun and clouds today, heating up to a high of 87, lows tonight in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Rain showers and a few thunderstorms for Saturday morning, cloudy through the afternoon, high 85.
It is mostly cloudy and 76 degrees right now in Duluth. Canton has 75. Scottsdale, you have mostly cloudy skies and 76 degrees. We'll have more news at noon, breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
On air,
Online,
on the app,
where you get your news,
is where you'll win.
Download the WSB Radio app now and maybe win $1,000.
That is awesome.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday.
This is Jill from Roswell, and I just won $1,000.
Just enter the word at WSBRadio.com or on the WSB Radio app.
Your next chance to win is coming up at 12.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
On 95.5 WSB.
Coming up next, giving away tickets to see Keith Urban, and we talked to legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum about the oral arguments at the Supreme Court. All that straight ahead on The Mark Arum Show.
These days, the Atlanta real estate market is just like Atlanta weather, unpredictable. Hi, I'm Deborah Morton, host of Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB every Saturday at 1 p.m. If there was ever a time to work with a true real estate expert, now is that time. In all my years in residential real estate, this is the most change and volatility I've seen. A misstep could cost thousands. This is when experience matters. My team and I are passionate about providing clarity to our clients through our expertise in real estate. So, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, we can give you that clarity so you can make great choices and the best decisions. And yes, I host Inside Georgia Real Estate here on WSB, but you don't have to wait until Saturday for help. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com and ask me anything. My team and I are here for you. Go to InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com for clarity in buying or selling your home.
News is temporary, but your financial plan shouldn't be. I'm Wes Moss, and at Capital Investment Advisors, we're focused on helping retirees invest for income. This means building and managing a portfolio that delivers a steady stream of income, regardless of the scary headlines of the day. If you're ready to shift your focus from the headlines to your core pursuits in retirement, reach out to our team at yourwealth.com. That's YOUR wealth.com.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz, and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no, and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now, 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
Hey, remember that crack in the concrete by your pool, the one everyone keeps tripping on? It's still there. AquaGuard Foundation Solutions can fix that. Just schedule a free inspection at aquaguard.net and a team of experts will stop by to help you out. Remember the name.
He's packed in the animals 2x2.
Ox, a camel, and a kangaroo. I'm in a singing mood. Don't judge. Don't judge. 11:37 on the Mark Arum Show. 30 minutes from right now. Another keyword in the 5K day bonus blitz right after the new news. Another chance for you in $1,000 here on 95.5 WSB. Don't have to wait 30 minutes to win, though. Deborah, another amazing set of tickets we are giving away today, my friend.
Tickets to see Keith Urban at Ameris Bank Amphitheater on April 23rd.
All right, Vinny's been great today. We're going to take it easy on Vin. We'll do the eighth caller. How about that? Eighth caller to 404-872-0750. Eighth caller to 404-872-0750 wins a pair of tickets to see Keith Urban at Ameris Bank Amphitheater, courtesy of the Mark Arum Show and 95.5 WSB. Without further ado, updating our top story all day, the Supreme Court. Oral arguments today. Joining us live to break it all down, our buddy and CBS News legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. Thane, good morning, my friend.
Hey, Mark. It's good hearing your voice, buddy.
Thanks for jumping in. Oral arguments started at 10. Have they wrapped up already?
No, I think they're still on. This is, remember, this case should not have been, they would normally not have a session today. They're normally like winding down business and writing opinions that they'll deliver and announce throughout the month of June. This was totally heard on an emergency basis largely because of the 18 cases around the country in which Donald Trump's executive orders are on pause. This is the one that emanates from the birthright citizenship case out in the Ninth Circuit. But the Supreme Court is after much bigger hunting here. It's not really about birthright citizenship. It's really about the power of federal district judges to place nationwide injunctions on policy of a new president. And that's really why the Supreme Court is hearing this case. The underlying issue of birthright citizenship isn't even going to come up.
Sometimes during oral arguments, you can get a feel from which way the justices are leaning regarding whatever case is in front of them. Have we seen any indication one way or another on how they might rule on this eventually?
Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, they see blood in the water here. For them, they think they've been skeptical, that you've given indications. They're skeptical that a federal judge has that kind of power, even in a country that honors separation of powers, to block the policy of a new administration nationwide. It's one thing to place an injunction with respect to the parties before the court, right? You know, the 3 states in which we're trying to block birthright citizenship, Massachusetts, Maryland, and Washington. It's one thing to deal with pregnant immigrants in those states, but to say that this applies nationwide is something that really has never happened in the United States, nor in England. You know, we borrowed their common law. So I think there's at least 4 justices that wanted to hear this case and are going to rule and invalidate a national injunction. Not sure how the other ones will vote. Chief Justice Roberts tends to be an institutionalist and someone who believes in judicial independence. So he's someone who's very likely to say, look, you know, separation of powers, that's the brakes. The federal judiciary has its own set of powers, and if it needs to, it can block the actions of the executive branch.
So this case is centered around the 14th Amendment issue, the birthright citizenship, but what they're hearing is not about that. It's about the power of the lower courts. If they get, you know, my finger math, 1, 2, 3, 4 justices smell blood in the water, as you said, if justice is the 5th or if whoever is the 5th, how important a decision will this be, not just for President Trump's executive orders, but any president in the future moving forward?
Well, even for President Trump, right, we're talking about 18 different lawsuits that might need to be lifted, right? Because in many of those cases, the federal district judges did the exact same thing. They placed an injunction, and President Trump is going, hey, I had an electoral mandate to implement these new policy reforms. And federal judges around the country are stopping me in my tracks on everything, not just in immigration, even DOJ and shutting down certain federal agencies. So it's going to, you know, unwind a lot of what President Trump is trying to put in play that he's been thwarted with. But you're right. You're raising another question. It does send another message about the separation of powers that, you know, I don't know if I've said this to you before, but, you know, everyone knows about Alexander Hamilton because of the hip-hop play musical. But, you know, he really believed in a unitary executive, meaning he believed that the president is not the king, but he's sort of the king. You know, there's a separation of powers, but the executive branch is equal plus. And especially when it comes to things like foreign policy and national security, there are people, certainly this administration, that think that separation of powers, Congress has a role, sure. The courts have some oversight, sure. But in the end of the day, we have to be able to make this call as a chief executive. And so that has, as you say, what's the impact on future presidencies? This case might send a message about, are there any limitations on presidential power, and what does it look like?
Legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum joining us live on the Mark Arum Show. Again, I think it's getting headlines because it's the constitutionality of the birthright citizenship, which will be a separate case. I eventually assume we'll get to the Supreme Court. But in this decision about determining the power of the lower courts, will the justices take into account that it's a very important case eventually that's going to be before them with birthright citizenship? Would the Trump administration have had a better case about the lower court's powers if they didn't fast track this birthright citizenship case to it?
Marky, you know, you're very good at this. That's a good question. No, that's a very insightful question. Look, the Trump administration said, let's just ignore birthright citizenship for a minute because we really have more important things to do right now. We really are fighting the judiciary on nationwide injunctions. But you're right. The underlying case is going to work its way through. This is only about lifting injunctions and whether the injunctions can stay in place. But you're right. There is this birthright citizenship issue itself, and that itself goes to the idea of, can the president's power under Article 2 of the Constitution, which deals with the power of the presidency, undo something that everyone thinks in birthright citizenship is already provided for under the 14th Amendment, right? Donald Trump's argument says, yes, but that only applies to people with whom the United States has jurisdiction, and people who are here illegally, we don't have jurisdiction. They're stateless and they don't belong here. But that's a philosophical question that the Supreme Court one day will pick up. But the Trump administration said, let's narrow this issue. Let's not confuse things. Let's leave even if it means that women can deliver children and they'll become citizens right now, and we don't want that, even if that's what the Trump administration wants, they're willing to forego the opportunity to bring this to the Supreme Court in order to fight the more pressing issue on federal injunctions.
Final quick question for you, Thane. How long do you think oral arguments will continue, and when do you think we'll get a decision from the Supremes on this?
Well, Mark, you keep me busy in June. The whole month of June, every day something happens,
Yes.
meaning they will deliver a case of some kind. And, the Supreme Court has a flair for the dramatic. So the big ticket items, whether it's guns or abortion, or in this case, birthright citizenship that has tied to the injunctive relief, my guess is you'll hear about this on the last few days of June.
Be a great band name, Deborah. Injunctive Relief. Live at the Tabby. Thane Rosenbaum and Injunction Relief at the Tabernacle. Thane, always a pleasure. Great insight. You can go back to monitoring the oral arguments now, my friend.
Thanks, buddy.
There you go. Thane Rosenbaum. Great insight as always. All right, very important case we're going to monitor. They're back now. Let's dip in for a second. Longoria. This is Jeremy F. I'm not going to try to pronounce his fast name. Representing the New Jersey case and Justice Sotomayor.
Harms that third parties will suffer as negative externalities of court orders. And that's our submission here, that to accept what the United States wants as against our injunction and to say that it turns on or off when you cross state.
All right, we'll continue to monitor. Again, Thane says 4 conservatives smell blood in the water on this issue. Will Chief Justice Roberts side with them? Obviously a big thing. He mentioned, Thane did, Deborah, that we get a lot of our rules from Old English law, which originated back in like the 1200s with the Magna Carta, right?
That's right.
And the Magna Carta now in the news. This is a garage sale find of all time, and it wasn't like an average Joe. It was Harvard University that has a Magna Carta that they bought for like $20. Is that right?
Yeah, so, you never know what you're going to find when you walk into a Goodwill. So Harvard University bought a copy of what, they thought was the Magna Carta. It was about $20-something, less than $30. And they had it on display for, educational purposes. And the Magna Carta goes back to the 1200s where, it basically established rights for everybody, no matter what station you were, a king or a peasant. Well, this replica actually turned out to be a real Magna Carta. It's one of only 6 original copies that are left, and the last one that went for auction came in at $21 million. And I know Harvard lost some funding, so maybe they'll sell that.
They said they're not going to sell it, but I mean, 20. So they bought what they thought was a copy for $30. Now it was an old copy. It was an old medieval copy, but they didn't think it was an original. Turns out it's an original. $20 million. Why can't that happen to me?
You don't thrift enough.
I don't thrift at all, to be honest.
Every time I go to the Goodwill, I'm like, I'm going to find something. And then
you never do?
Nothing.
All right. Anyway.
Find that old Lego.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
Exactly. All right, so the Magna Carta in the news today. Hey, congrats to Chris from Lilburn. He won a pair of tickets to see Keith Urban at Ameris Bank Amphitheater. We have one more pair of those to give away tomorrow, Deborah?
Tomorrow, yeah.
All right, excellent. So one more chance to see Keith Urban at Ameris Bank Amphitheater. All right, before we get back to the Supreme Court and President Trump's Mideast visit, let's check the ride around town. Live with the latest, Alex Williams.
Just picked up a new crash in DeKalb County, and they just got it off to the right. 285 northbound, the outer loop at I-20 exit 46. That's why you're seeing the little extra brake lights back before Flat Shoals. That should start to improve. If you're traveling I-20 westbound through DeKalb County, a little slow to the work zone, but no lanes blocked today, leaving Panola Road over to Wesley Chapel. And that work zone in Snellville, Highway 78 at Grayson Parkway, right lane blocked eastbound, a left lane blocked westbound, so jammed up through that intersection. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Eric Erickson.
I try even when I don't agree.
The opinions expressed are his.
To at least exercise some basic empathy.
And that's what makes you listen.
Coming in like a wrecking ball, taking it all out. It's fantastic.
Eric Erickson.
Today, starting at noon.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
This is Scott Slade. Nothing takes the place of time when it comes to spotting problems with your health, especially cancer. The earlier, the better. Like me. My doctor saw one lab work number that led to a diagnosis early enough, so I still had options. Now, that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation. Virtual imaging's LD CT whole body scan can be invaluable, giving you time and options for early treatment. They can detect tumors as early as precancerous virtually anywhere in your body, and aneurysms you may not even know are there. For a limited time, Virtual Imaging is offering their LDCT body scan for only $995 per scan. That's a $2,495 value. Now, appointments must be scheduled in May. There are a limited number of scans available at this price, so a few minimum requirements may apply. Don't put this off. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 62225, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Attention seniors, do you want more personalized healthcare with more one-on-one time with your doctor? Then join us at the grand opening of CenterWell Marietta. CenterWell offers senior-focused primary care that's centered on you. Celebrate with us Tuesday, May 20th, near the Walmart off Highway 41 here in Marietta from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Enjoy food, music, and more at this free community event. Plus, tour the new doctor's office and meet the care team. For details, visit cometocenterwellgeorgia.com. That's cometocenterwellgeorgia.com.
It's Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I've got something important to talk to you about, your 401k. If you have changed jobs, there are 2 very important considerations. You don't want to leave your 401k behind, and you don't want to roll it over into your new company plan without consulting Trajan Wealth first. 401ks will often have limited investments or age-based options. Since companies have to make choices to suit all employees, they may not be suited to you, which could cost you fees and money. When you roll over your 401k into an IRA, you not only keep your money growing tax deferred, but you also gain access to a world of investment options specifically designed for you. Trajan Wealth and our fiduciary advisors have helped thousands, and we can do the same for you. Call 404-390-4000. That's 404-390-4000.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor.
Hey folks, it's Shelley Winter here. You know, sometimes they make fun of me around the office because I doze off at my desk while doing show prep. Well, you know why that happened? It's because of a lack of sleep. I have sleep apnea. So if you snore or have sleep apnea also, you're not living life to the fullest. So listen up. I know you're tired, but in all seriousness, this is important. My friends over at Palmetto Sleep are changing lives with a custom-fit oral appliance that stops your snoring and treats sleep apnea. I'm not talking about something you buy out of a supermarket. This is a custom-made for your mouth and covered by your private medical insurance. What I love most is that they do everything from the diagnosis to the delivery of the oral appliance and everything in between. They even provide a take-home sleep study and virtual consults. If you're ready for a great night's sleep, you're ready for Palmetto Sleep. Go to palmettosleep.com. That's palmettosleep.com right now. Don't suffer from another sleepless night. palmettosleep.com.
You recognize this song? This is from like Some movie, like a creepy movie or something. Anyway, the name of the song is Tubular Bells, performed by musician Mike Oldfield, who turned 72 years old today. That's all I got. What movie was that? Poltergeist or something?
It's either Friday the 13th
something.
or
kind of creepy.
What's the other one? I can't remember.
Halloween?
Yes,
Don't
it's either
throw
that one or
on
Halloween.
the Mike Oldfield, Vinny, if you're on a date. Don't throw that in the 8-track. That's going to freak out your date. All right, real quick, President Trump continuing his tour. Will he or won't he go to Turkey for the peace talks? Ukraine's President Zelensky's in Turkey for talks about the war. Russian delegation is there, but notably absent is Russian President Vladimir Putin. CBS's Ian Pannell's in Istanbul, not Constantinople.
I think on many levels, it's not a huge surprise. You had President Trump speaking, essentially saying that even he doesn't think that Putin would come here to Turkey unless Trump was also coming. I mean, there is pressure, without a doubt. But at the moment, I think it sends a signal, that and the delegation that they've chosen, that for Russia, this isn't crunch talks, this isn't the last minute, this isn't a breakthrough in any kind of deal.
President Trump has hinted, though, that he would be open to extending his trip and going to Turkey. He wants to sit down face-to-face with Vladimir Putin. Obviously, if that happens, that would be huge news, and we will update it throughout the day here on 95.5 WSB. I mentioned earlier, Deborah, I am rewatching Game of Thrones for about the 9th time. I've got it. I watch it on the Max app now, which is, to me, was the dumbest thing ever. They got rid of the HBO, the classic standard home box office. Shung. And they changed it to Max. Now they're switching back.
Yeah, so we all probably remember HBO from when it first launched. Then it was HBO Go, which I never had. Then you had HBO Now, and then, of course, it just went to Max for some reason. And this summer, they are going to change it back to HBO Max.
Just stick with HBO.
I know, just leave it to HBO.
Like they were they broke the mold. Home box office. You had HBO. That's how you knew you were rich. If your friends had HBO, it was like, oh, your parents are doing well.
I wasn't rich, and we had HBO.
Really? Oh, no. If you went to a sleepover and your friends had
Deborah.
HBO, yeah.
We didn't have that. We had to go to my rich friends had HBO. Like, well, you're 7th generation, Longoria.
Yeah, and I'm an only child, so I got everything.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. That was the line of demarcation. Like, if your friend's parents had HBO, they were well-to-do, upper crust, if you will.
Longoria's Fact of the Day.
All right, today is National Chocolate Chips Day, and Ruth Wakefield, owner of the Toll House restaurant, is credited with inventing the first chocolate chip cookie in 1937.
Say the name again?
Ruth Wakefield.
Ruth Wakefield, mother of knuckleball pitcher Tim Wakefield.
Yeah, she was the owner of the Toll House restaurant. Toll House cookies.
Those are still good.
Oh, the best.
Toll House cookies. You make them fresh baked. Deborah makes her stuff from scratch, though.
I did. I just made some last week.
By the way, on the Piccadilly text line, what was I calling it? Longoria's Empanada Palace?
Yeah.
We got a suggestion on the Piccadilly text line. Better name. Eskimo Empanada Emporium.
Okay, that'll work.
The 3 E's.
Yeah.
Eskimo Empanada Emporium. We're
Yeah.
going to make that happen someday.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I need retirement.
Exactly.
And now,
You can't get high in your own supply, though, Longoria. And then you got to have Deborah make all the empanadas, and I'll lose, the backbones of the show. No, I'm gonna nix that idea. All right, stars of the show. Vinny did a great job and went to Chick-fil-A before the show. So Vinny gets a star of the show. Congrats, Vinny. Correspondent John Decker joined us previewing the Supreme Court. He gets a star of the show. Peter Haralambous drew the short star. He's having to sit in the Diddy trial and listen to the testimony there. We'll give Peter a star of the show. Josh Saul from Bloomberg News, CBS legal analyst Thane Rosenbaum. I believe that is it. Oh, I bought breakfast, so I'm going to give myself a star of the show. Vinny ran, I paid. He flew, I buy, you fly, yeah. Social media. Oh, listen, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Right after the new news, I'm going to give you a keyword in the 5K day bonus blitz. Another chance for you to win $1,000. Big show tomorrow. Social medias are active throughout the day, 24/7 basically. At Mark Arum, MarkArum. Stay safe. Have a great Thursday, Atlanta.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard, sponsored by Ragsdale Heating, Air, Plumbing, and Electrical.
Odds are you don't have near enough insulation in your attic. It's cheap to get your home properly insulated. The payback is quick. Many times, just in months, you'll make back what you pay. And it's just one example of things you can do where you take control of your power bill. So know we're in a cycle that electricity bills are headed